Get ready, come on now. Hang tight, inside, inside, inside. Stay in the gas, let's go! Go, 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 he's coming. Awesome job, buddy, awesome job. Awesome, awesome day. Check up, check up, check up, check up, check up. Caution inbound! Caution inbound! You okay, buddy? Woo! Yeah!
T-minus 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition.
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown as the NASCAR Nationwide Series gets ready to run 300 laps at the famed Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee. After not racing for the past 2 weeks, the drivers and teams are more than ready. Add that anticipation to the fact that they're racing here at Bristol. There's no pep talk needed. These 43 drivers and teams are ready for action in Thunder Valley. You don't have to tell them go when the green flag waves. Qualifying for this race was held late this morning, local time. Jason Keller put up a good number in the 27 car. The 10-time series winner starts third today. Keep an eye on him when the green flag waves. Carl Edwards, the current series point leader and 07 winner of this race, was fast, but would end up second quickest. Carl edged for the pole by Brendan Gaughan, the Las Vegas native, scoring his first Nationwide Series pole position, just over 126 miles an hour. The winning speed, today's fastest qualifier with Shannon Spake right now.
And Brendan Gaughan has the old school throwback paint scheme on his car and his fire suit. Now, when you consider Rusty Wallace's record here at this racetrack, how much does it mean for you to get your first nationwide pole here at Bristol?
No, that's big. I mean, driving for Rusty I'm having one of the best times of my life. I mean, he was such a great teammate in 04, and as tough as that year was for a while, Rusty was always there trying to help. And to come to Bristol, where I ran good in that Cup car, and he called me on the radio during that race, actually, when I was running third in the Punisher car. So to come here in Bristol, the black and gold paint scheme, you know, to walk up that victory lane stand and take the pictures for the Coors Light pole, it'd mean the world to bring that car into victory lane tonight for him. And then watch him do it in the Legends race afterwards. That'd be kind of fun.
Now, you just talked about Cup racing here. You've also been here in the Truck Series. How much translates to the Nationwide Series?
A lot of it. You know, these race cars really do handle a lot the same at Bristol because it's just such a different track. But the biggest thing yesterday I had to get used to, again, was a shorter windshield. The first 10 laps of practice, I called Brian and Shane Huffman and said, wow, I forgot what that laid-back, narrow windshield was. I'm used to that big whole thing in the Truck Series. So it took me a couple laps, but as far as chassis goes, this setup is almost like the one we finished second with a couple years ago behind Johnny Benson here at this new configuration Bristol. So hopefully it'll translate into a nice top 5 finish tonight and see what I can do for Rusty.
Good luck to you today. Now, there have been 11 different winners in 11 races here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and in August, it was nationwide regular Brad Keselowski who drove his way to victory lane.
Lights shimmering off the concrete here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
It's going to be an exciting night.
Boyer the leader. So much at stake, though, for that guy. Can he hang on?
Clint Boyer looks like he has the best car, but Brad Keselowski has been flying.
Up front, the 2-car up across the racetrack. The 88 goes by and takes the lead.
What a run this 88 car's had from 37 to the lead.
Keselowski will come down and take the checkered flag.
He is a championship contender now, bona fide.
And Brad Keselowski certainly hoping to have a run much like he did here back in August. I know you've got the same car. Has it reacted the same way?
It's a little bit looser, but to be honest, I think it's faster. So I think we've got a better car than we had in the fall last year, and hopefully the field didn't get any faster. But you know, I'm really excited about this race, ready to get back on track. I think we've got the cars and the team to do it, and this GoDaddy.com Chevrolet is fast.
You mentioned getting back on track. You come into here finding yourself in a pretty deep hole in the standings, 22nd. How much urgency are you feeling right now?
Well, I think, you know, every week there's no chase over here in the Nationwide Series, so there's no off weeks, there's no mulligans. So, you know, we've used up all the bad luck we can have for a whole season in the first 3 races. So it's up to us to get on track, and this is a great place to do it. And it's not many times you come to Bristol to get your season back on track, but I feel like we can do that today.
Well, if Brad's going to record back-to-back Bristol victories, he's going to have to beat the guy who's standing with Dave Burns.
And Mike, he won this race back in 2007. He's won the last 2 August Cup races here at this track, and there's not a blade of grass anywhere. How do you and this sponsor do so well at the concrete track here at Bristol?
You notice the grass is real green outside. The Scott's Turf Builder is working. But we got a great Ford Fusion today. The Water Smart car is fast and qualified really well. You know, it's been a while since we won a Busch race here, a nationwide race. Sorry about that. But the car seems pretty good. And I'm really proud of our qualifying effort. And we got a great pit stall. Should be a great day.
Crew Chief Dan said you went through a lot of shocks in first practice. Did you find the set you liked?
Yeah, they were slinging shocks all over the place, and Daryl Morrow and all the guys did a really good job, made a lot of changes, and I'm hoping we made all the right ones. You know, when you qualify that well with the impound procedure, you kind of wonder if that was, you know, if your car is going to be too tight during the race. So that'll be the only thing I'll be watching for. If the thing gets too tight, you know, hopefully Dan and the guys have a good plan to free it up.
All right, I'm done with my questions. Carl is our in-race reporter today, and if you guys have a question, Carl, what do they need to do to maybe get it on the air?
You can log on to ESPN.com right after you get done with CarlEdwards.com, and then while you're at ESPN.com, the keyword is Ask the Driver. That's 3 words. Ask the Driver at ESPN.com, and I guess they can send in a question, and I'll answer it on the air.
Driver of the number 60, he'll start second. Let's go upstairs to Brad Doherty, Rusty Wallace, and the driver of this countdown ship, your host, Alan Bestwick.
Oh, I got promoted to behind the wheel today.
There we go.
All right, David, we appreciate that. Thank you. 9-time Bristol winner, Rusty Wallace, by the way, who does own the car that starts on the pole for today's race. This is one of those races that people just get all wound up for.
Oh, they've been thinking about this race all year long. They're all jacked up. They want to come here so bad. The intensity is amazing. The people are just fired up, Brad. I mean,
absolutely.
You talk to everybody down there. They just can't wait for the race to get started. They love Bristol.
And by the way, we have 9 wins between us.
Yeah.
We need to remember that. Absolutely. We got this little bull ring, which a lot of these guys, like Rusty, grew up racing around. And now we come and we got a half-mile track. You jam 160,000 people in here. It's almost like being in a coliseum. It's a great opportunity for the fans to see racing all the time. You can go get you a hot dog and a cold beverage with one eye and the other eye keep it on the racetrack and not miss a thing. It's excitement from the green flag to the checker flag.
And 43 cars hitting each other almost every single lap.
Yeah, a little bit of contact racing
Absolutely.
here. These drivers and teams have been off for a couple of weeks, Rusty. A little quirk of the early season schedule. Any effect on this race today?
No, not really. They've been targeting this race. I mean, this is the first short track that they've been to all year long, and they're pumped up about it. They're ready for it. And this is just not a regular short track race, Alan. This is Bristol, and this is very important to all these guys. They know if they win here, they have really done something.
And we heard from Brad Keselowski a minute ago there, Brad. Started off his season kind of so-so shape. 3 finishes, not as good as he would have liked. But this is kind of the way last season started off for him as well. How much urgency do you think he feels for
Well, I think he feels more pressure this year because of the expectations. But if you look at the numbers, they're almost identical to last year. The only problem I see is if you look back over his last 5 races, he only has 1 top 10, and that's going all the way back to Homestead. He's a really good young race car driver, and I think he wants to be in the middle of that championship hunt. But I'm seeking, there's just a little bit of self-confidence I think that Brad Keselowski's lost. As I've talked to him over the past couple of weeks, he needs to get that back here.
We'll keep an eye on that 88 car. Brad starts in 15th position today. When NASCAR Countdown continues, we will talk to the defending Nationwide Series champion, Clint Boyer, who's also the defending winner of this race. Kansas Clint, one of the favorites for today. California's Kevin Harvick has 4 Nationwide Series wins at Bristol, but there's something on his resume still to be accomplished, and it could happen today. One of the legends of this track, this series, and all of NASCAR, Harry Gant joins us live. Why the Bandit rides again, and much more when NASCAR Countdown returns.
NASCAR Countdown on ABC, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR.
The Bristol Motor Speedway opened in 1961, but it sure has changed a lot since then. Today, the track NASCAR fans say is one of the best places to watch a race. Hosts the NASCAR Nationwide Series for 300 laps. Kevin Harvick has won 4 of these Bristol races. He has dominated, like August of 2000, when he led 241 laps in taking the trophy. He won again in 01 and 03, then 4 years ago, started 38th, found his way to victory lane. Kevin starts 13th today, Vince Welch.
That's exactly right, Kevin Harvick. If you look at the speed charts in practice, I think a 5th win might be imminent. He's been very good here this weekend. And Kevin, at what point do you know you've got a car capable of winning the race?
Well, when practice ends, I don't know that you can necessarily count on it before practice starts, but so far Armour's Chevrolet has been really good. And, you know, we normally don't qualify that well here, so we're in our 12th to 14th slot. I think we're 13th there, so stay out of trouble the first little bit and have a good day on pit road, and we'll see what happens at the end.
Is there a spot on the track where the car has to be working for you to get it to victory lane?
Yeah, the biggest thing that we fight here is usually loose into turn 1, and if you can kind of overcome that and still get the car to turn in the middle 1 and 2, that's pretty much the key to making it happen.
Kevin Harvick still seeking that first win in a Kevin Harvick-owned nationwide car. And that would certainly be something the team would be celebrating today. A year ago here at Bristol, the celebrating was done by RCR and driver Clint Boyer.
Not a pretty sight. A racetrack in the rain. Finally time for the drivers to buckle in and go racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. Caution flag has just come out for rain.
If I'm Clint Boyer's crew chief, I got to leave him out there.
But a few of the guys chasing him, they've got nothing to lose. NASCAR just pulled the plug, and Clint Boyer has been declared the winner of this race.
Probably one of the coolest victory lanes on the circuit is right here at Bristol Motor Speedway on top of the roof. But last year you won here. We're not able to celebrate up there because of the rain. So what obstacles are you going to have to overcome today to make that vertical drive?
Just keep my car turning good. You know, keep the 29 Holiday Inn Chevrolet turning in the middle of the corner, getting good forward bite up off the corners. I think the track will widen out a little bit. It's already starting to show a little bit of rubber through practice sessions in the Cup side. So, you know, hopefully we can get into victory lane in a right, orderly fashion, and that's up on top of that building, because that's really where victory lane is in Bristol.
Now, last year was a lot of points racing for you. 10 races this season. How does that change how aggressive you're willing to be to get a win?
Well, that's all. That's what I'm here for. You know, now I'm not here to win championships. I'm here to win races, and you know, you can only do what you got to do. But come 2 to go, if I'm not leading, look out.
Defending champ Clint Boyer rolls off 7th today.
Something to watch for later in the race for sure. Yeah, I mentioned this place was built in 1961. A lot of good things were born that year. You know?
Oh, my goodness.
Not like me. The place was cut into the side of a hill with just 18,000 seats to start. 1969, the turns were remodeled. The really high banks were added. The lights went in for 78. Seats added pretty much continuously over the 80s and 90s. And then when Bruton Smith bought the place from founder Larry Carrier in 1996, they knocked the hill down and completely rebuilt the place into the massive stadium you see now that leaves quite an impression on drivers and fans.
You don't hit the brakes at Bristol. It's pretty intense. It separates the men from the boys really quick. It's on, off the gas, turn, turn, turn. Fighter jets in a freaking fish tank.
3 wide, you're in the middle.
It's Roman Coliseum, man.
He just turned us on the front straightaway.
It's like a roller coaster. The thing about roller coasters, you know you're not going to crash.
Bristol's my favorite track. It's the baddest racetrack on this whole series.
It's the gladiator of NASCAR.
Well, all you need to know about how tough this track is can be summed up by looking at the list of who's done a lot of the winning here over the years. It is a list of a lot of the sport's greatest. Waltrip, Earnhardt, Yarborough, and there's that guy Wallace with the old school picture there.
Hey, man, what do they got me in black and white for?
You got a little fro action going on, too. Look at Cal. He's got the comb-over deal going. That's pretty sweet.
I do, too, now.
A number of those NASCAR legends are here at the track today, one of whom joins us in our ESPN pit studio now, 18-time Cup and 21-time Nationwide Series winner Harry Gant. How you doing?
Doing great so far.
It's early in the day, right?
Early in the day.
Now, Harry's here as part of a group of drivers who are going to climb back behind the wheel for a race later today. Invited here by the track to give a little extra kick for the fans that were coming and also to raise some money for a charity. And it should be a pretty interesting group to go racing against, that's for sure. Yeah. It's going to be wild.
It is going to be outstanding to watch. And Harry, the one thing I wanted to ask you is, as you watch these nationwide cars today, I mean, what's the biggest change, or is there a lot of similarities to when you drove, which was not too long ago?
Well, there's a lot of similarities, really, just looking at the cars, and I know there's 50 things I could say that's different, but the main number one thing is we won a lot of these Busch races at Darlington and Rockingham, everywhere. And you get more to start this race than we got for winning now. That's the big difference.
So the money's changed. The money's changed a little bit or a lot.
That's the big difference.
You know, when you won here last, Harry, in this Nationwide Series, what used to be the Busch Series, you established a record that still stands today. The oldest driver to win a race, 52 years, 2 months, 25 days. How little pride do you take in hearing about records like that you hold?
Well, that's 20 years ago, so I about forgot it by now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter much anymore.
I got to listen to you guys tell it on TV when I'm watching. It's already I know it.
Hey, Harry, you're going to run the Legends race tonight. I mean, I'm going to be in it. You're going to be in it. A whole bunch of guys, Jack Ingram like that. When we get back on the track like we did last weekend, do you get to itch to get back in the car? I mean, do you really miss it once you get back in?
Oh, you get back in, it feels real good, but then you have to go through everything, getting ready to get to it, and the crowds and all that. I feel like it's nice at home watching everybody worry about it.
There you go. If some of we got a bunch of guys starting their first Nationwide Series race today here at Bristol. If some of them were to come up to you here in this next little while and say, hey, give me some advice, what would you tell them?
They already have.
Yeah? What would you tell them?
Just back off early and get in quick.
There you go. Now, take a look at this group of guys that you're going to race against a little bit later on today. We got Jack Ingram, got Cale Yarborough, got Junior Johnson out there. There's Harry, Phil Parsons, Rusty's in the field. I would imagine being around a lot of these guys here this weekend and today's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun. I've seen people I hadn't met in 15 years since I retired. So all through the pits, everything has been great. We're having a great time.
And what do you spend most of your time doing now that you're not racing on a full-time basis anymore?
I ride over the farm, look at cows, cattle.
Yeah.
Work a little bit, and do different things. Got some cars to fool with and stuff like that. But
I
really enjoy the easy life.
Yeah. Oh, man. I still think you got a lot of racing left in you, though. And I know tonight you're going to be pumped up. I don't know about you, man, but to get out there with Cale Yarborough and Junior Johnson and be in the car and look to my right, look to my left and see those guys, that's going to bring back some memories, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And I tell you, Harry, I got to follow him around last week on the racetrack in my little race car. And I'm going to tell you what, this cat can still get it done. I think he might be the man to beat tonight. I'm sorry, Rusty. He had a good-looking race car.
He does have a great-looking car.
I'm just struggling to get in the hang of that bump stops. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Bump stops.
Yeah.
Driving with the elbows. So I'm used to driving like this.
You mean they got your car on bump stops? They made you do that?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I'm not no good at that.
Harry, you look great. Glad to see you. We look forward to watching you a little bit later on tonight. And it's great to see you here at the racetrack. We don't see that too often these days.
No, it's the first time I've been to one really inside since I quit.
Well, come on back and hang out with us, man. We love seeing you.
Well, I enjoy being here.
Absolutely.
Glad to be on the show.
18-time Cup winner, 21-time Nationwide Series winner Harry Gant. He is part of the field of the Scotts Saturday Night Special. Bristol Motor Speedway, 6 p.m. Eastern Time tonight on ESPN2. Live coverage, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I can't wait, that's for sure. A couple of more stories from today's race to watch for as we go to break. Matt Kenseth is subbing for Greg Biffle in the Roush Fenway 16. Biffle banged up his ribs when he slipped on a boat and fell, so he's taking the day off. Matt starts 6th. Paul Menard making his first Nationwide Series start in a while. He's driving a Yates Racing 98 car from 11th on the grid. And Scott Speed is behind the wheel of the Michael Waltrip Racing 99 today. Speed ran a Truck Series race here last August fairly well. He starts 19th in this one. It's NASCAR Countdown from Thunder Valley, where lunch is served.
Oh, man, a woman after my heart. Give me a little slaw and a side of Tums, baby.
Hey, how'd you get our sign there? ABC is your NBA destination. Tomorrow, Dwayne Wade and the Heat roll into Motown to take on Rip Hamilton and the Detroit Pistons. It's the NBA on ABC Sunday, coverage starting at 12:30 Eastern with GMC NBA Countdown. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
Dwayne Wade is having an MVP type of year for the NBA. He is outstanding.
Should be a good game. Now, it'd certainly be a mistake to not talk about Kyle Busch before a race these days. The 23-year-old Las Vegas native has led over a third of all the laps this season in the Nationwide Series. He's a former winner here. He's probably going to be a factor today. And Davey starts 4th.
And walking down pit road right now. Kyle, stop right here, and they're going to tell us which camera to look at pretty soon because we lost our camera somewhere along the way here. That'll be right up there is where we're looking at right now. So what's the hat story? I understand it involves our Ray Evernham and some sort of a dig you made on him.
Yeah, well, I told him there was a speed interview about him, and he was wearing a hat like this. I says, you know, you're liable to be called an old man when you wear a hat like that. And so he says, well, if you go out here and win this race, who's at Vegas, then I'll get you one of these hats, so at least we can call you a man. So I thought it was pretty cool. I went out there and I won the race, so I got myself a hat. And so, you know, Ray's up there. He's going to be doing his deal today, I think, hopefully. Yeah?
No, not up there today, but I wanted to ask about the hat.
That's right. He's a second half of the year guy. I forgot.
You're very aware of this. As far as racing luck goes, after you're given the hat, you haven't won here in a couple years in Nationwide Series. Going to turn around today?
I don't know. I hope so. You know, we'll see. Here last spring, you know, we got wrecked about the 4th lap, so it didn't go so well for us. But feel like the Z-Line Designs Toyota is pretty decent today. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we can have a good race, keep it clean, and try to win this thing.
All right, here's some more details for you. Normally we'd go back up there to Alan Beswick, but the studio's way the heck out there. So, Alan, back to you wherever you are.
We got the back 40 edition of the studio going today, Dave. And by the way, Ray will join us on NASCAR now on Monday night, Eastern, ESPN2, 5 Eastern time. Just make sure you know that point. He's with us this time of the year, too. Kyle and Carl Edwards figure to be locked in a season-long fight for this Nationwide Series championship. At Vegas last race, Kyle won the Cup race. But in the Nationwide Series race, he crashed early, finished 39th, went from leading Carl Edwards by 20 points to trailing by 109. 3 races into the year, those 129 points a big deal?
Oh, man, are you kidding me? We're not even going to hint around about talking about the points right now. And we're talking about Kyle Busch, who, by the way, is the cat in the hat. That rascal can drive anything. That was pretty slick. He can drive anything, and he can get right back in it today. He can go out here and dominate this race. He's going to probably win 6, 7, 8 races. The points don't matter right now when you're talking about Kyle Busch, baby.
Oh, man, don't give me that now. I'll guarantee you, when this cat gets to Homestead, Florida, he's like 50 or 60 points behind. He'll think about those points that he missed earlier in the year.
There's no way he'll be 50 or 60. There, he'll win 7, 8 races.
But Rusty, if he is, Brad, he'll be missing those points he got early.
The cat in the hat.
Thank you, Rusty. I appreciate the backup there. Let's talk about this racetrack. Boy, it's a handful for the drivers, and they are going to be in traffic all day long. Little half-mile place where you go around in less than 16 seconds. That's a lot for a driver to handle in a lap here, Rusty.
It really is. Let's take a lap with Brad Keselowski around here. He's at the start-finish line right now. And boy, I tell you one thing, vision is really, really tough. I mean, when you're driving the car, you're going to be looking up at the very corner, left-hand upper portion of the window. And look at their RPMs, about 9,000 RPMs, and they really get around this racetrack pretty quick. But one thing that's really key is to stay right on the bottom of the racetrack. That's the fastest way around. And if you get a little too high, Brad, you can get in those, what I call the marbles up there. You can crash that car, so you got to stay pretty low here.
Yeah, you got to stay tucked. I've run a bunch of laps around this racetrack, and I've hit the wall right there, as a matter of fact. When you come out of 4, it kind of flattens out. You have to expect the car to kind of shake and turn over on the wheel. You got to be really, really careful and pay attention where you're at. Rusty, you can run a lot of laps here in traffic and forget which end is which.
I'm telling you, but when you're in traffic, take a look at this. 3 wide down the front straightaway. Now, you got to be careful right there, because if you get 3 wide and the car gets loose, I will promise you, you will crash. So you got to give a lot of respect to this racetrack. But you know what? You're going to see this same thing you're seeing right there, guys, all day long. Bumping and banging, 43 guys. It's going to be wild.
When you can look at it, the cars look like they're moving really slow.
They're moving fast,
they're flying, and there's not much room for error, and it's really a tough racetrack to drive.
All that bumping and banging is why they have all those seats around in this little racetrack. Now, something else for you to watch for as the race goes on. The front bumpers of the race cars. For more on that, let's go to our Craftsman Tech Garage and our champion crew chief, Tim Brewer. Tim?
Thank you very much, Alan. One of the most important things a driver can do today is take care of this nose, because if he caves the nose in, it's going to close up the grill opening. Therefore, it's going to limit airflow to the radiator. You're not going to win this race burning the motor up. But the front bumper, I'm going to save this thing for the last portion of the race to put the old fabulous bump and run on them.
Yeah, we won't see that late in the race.
Oh, man. I've got that bump and run twice. I hate it.
Yeah, you've been on the bad end of it.
Was you bumping or was you running?
Is Jeff Gordon
getting bumped, man.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that for later in the race. Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Now, if you go to ESPN.com and look up our nationwide pick'em game, we've got some driver matchups there you can pick among. And our experts so far this season
been expertly wrong.
I think that looks a little better than their NCAA tournament brackets, though.
Not much.
Today's matchups, picked by our guys. Rusty picking between Jason Keller and Mike Bliss.
I picked Mike Bliss. Mike Bliss is awful good around this racetrack, so I'm picking Bliss. Keller will probably beat him, though.
And Brad was asked to pick between the matchup today. That is Joey Logano and Brendan Gaughan.
And I picked Brendan Gaughan. And I picked him yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
That just goes to show. And I think Brendan's going to have a great race. Going to stay out front, lead a lot of laps. Might win this thing.
All right, so Brendan starting on pole in the Rusty Wallace Incorporated car. Ray, by the way, asked to pick between Justin Allgaier and Scott Lagasse Jr., a couple of the young guys, and Justin Allgaier was his pick. Not a bad one for today. Almost time to go racing here at Bristol. Couple of other notes from the lineup. Some drivers to keep an eye on today. Kenny Hendrick has his best ever Nationwide Series starting spot, qualified 10th in the 42 car. Rookie John West Townley, his best ever Nationwide Series start from 12th, just the 4th race for the 19-year-old from Georgia. And 18-year-old Trevor Bayne from Knoxville, making his Nationwide debut in a car prepared by Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. He starts 27th. NASCAR Countdown continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
History echoes across the concrete stretches of Bristol Motor Speedway. It is not speed, but width that determines legend here, the high-banked holy grail of motorsports.
At the line, it is Stanley Armstrong. Oh, and Earnhardt spins him out. First Winston Cup victory for Rusty Wallace. Darrell Waltrip gets the win.
On race day, the echoes quickly turn to thunder. And the quiet stands fill with fans hungry for the next legend to emerge. But to emerge, one must first survive. Enduring all 300 laps at Bristol earns you a new title. Winner, villain, hero, champion.
Champions shine brightest on their sport's biggest stages, and so it is at NASCAR's version of the Great Coliseum, the Bristol Motor Speedway, for the Scott's Turf Builder 300, Race 4 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series for 2009. It's one of the oddities of the sport how one of the smallest tracks creates some of the biggest tension and drama you will see. The green flag waving just moments from now. First, we go trackside for today's opening ceremony.
Race fans, please rise to the invocation of the presentation of colors for the Cherokee High School Navy Junior ROTC. To deliver the invocation, Jim Fickley, pastor of Redeemer Community Church in Johnson City, Tennessee. Jim?
Let's pray together. God, thank you for a glorious day to participate in this race. Enjoy it. Thank you for the beautiful skies. The energy in this place is exhilarating. And God, we give you glory for your power and your strength. God, we pray for the people in all parts of the world that are doing for what we cannot do for ourselves, and keeping us in freedom and protection. God, we pray for safety at this race. God, we pray for protection for the drivers, for the teams, for the crews, and we give you all the praise and the glory. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Race fans, your hats off, hands over your heart, and join in singing our national anthem. Country music band from Nashville, Tennessee, please welcome King Billy.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
So after a 2-week spring break for the drivers and crews of the NASCAR Nationwide Series, time to buckle in and start them up. Going racing next, you're watching ESPN on ABC.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR. And Scott's Turf Builder. All food, no filler. That's Scott's advantage.
Opportunity and hard work. Let's get serious next couple hours. Let's make our own luck. We turn this thing around. We're in a hole. We're going to start digging today. Dig on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dig!
Brad Keselowski's team getting ready to go here at Bristol. Talked with the driver earlier. They've had a tough start to the season. They start 15th here today. Second day of spring, a little chilly here in the hills of East Tennessee, but the sun has been in and out all day. No precipitation in the forecast. Good conditions for racing here in Thunder Valley. Now, very high above the start-finish line, you'll find 3 very well-dressed gentlemen, just as anxious as the drivers are for this race to start. Let's go up to Dr. Jerry Punch, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie. Doc, all yours.
Thank you very much, Alan. Hello, everyone. Glad to have you with us. Folks, for those of you who have never been here to Bristol now, picture a 3-story high concrete barrel. And then when the race begins, this barrel becomes a giant blender. You pour in 43 cars, you turn it on high, and the one that gets chewed up the least is usually the winner. So the question is, Dale, how do you survive 300 laps here at Bristol?
Well, one way is by staying cool, calm, and collected, and that's not anything to do with the deodorant these guys may be wearing. It's got to do with keeping your head on your shoulders and staying cool. You know coming here there's going to be a lot of contact. You're going to get run into. You're going to run into people. But if you let that affect you mentally, then it's probably going to affect the way you drive the race car, and it's going to hinder your chances to have a good day.
Andy, nothing is easy here. Even a simple pass or a pit stop can pose a huge challenge for a team. What are the keys?
Well, the thing about this track is it's so short and we have so much contact, we're going to have a lot of caution flags, and that's just going to really make it tough on the crew chiefs to decide when they make their pit stops, when they leave their cars out. This has always given me an ulcer as a crew chief because you never can really hit that right. It seems like you always miss it by just a little bit, and things happen so fast. You have to make that decision so quickly once that caution does come out that sometimes your car's in the pit stall before you can make that decision.
Guys, if you had to offer a team one word of advice, a single word, what would that be?
Patience. Well, he took my word, so I'm going to say survival. That's what it's going to take. If you're going to do good here, you have to survive and get to the end of the race.
It's all about contact here. The first short track race of the year, these drivers know that when they wave the green flag, they're going to be bouncing off each other in this very large Bristol blender. Drivers are cinched up and getting set for 300 laps here on the high banks in eastern Tennessee. So why don't we go trackside and hear the words all the race fans want to hear as we get set to fire them up.
Race fans, to give the command to start today's Scott's Turf Builder 300, the most famous words in auto racing. Here's Jeff Kaiser, Vice President of Marketing of the Lawns Division with Scott's. Jeff?
Gentlemen, start your engines!
3's in front of us and 01's behind us. We're on the backstretch, fifth pit back on the backstretch.
Engines have fired and we are set to roll here momentarily in Bristol, Tennessee. You know, in March there's always some Cinderella stories on the hardwood, but here, one today, there's a Cinderella story on the high banks, and there he is, a rookie driver out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 33-year-old Brendan Gaughan on the pole, driving for Rusty Wallace Incorporated. He will lead him down. As you take a look at our starting grid, he'll be flanked by Carl Edwards. Great qualifying effort by Jason Keller, and we mentioned best qualifying effort ever for Kenny Hendrick, starting back in 10th position. Folks, this is one of the most unique racetracks on the circuit. It is the only track left that has a split pit road. And Andy, there are some very good and some very bad places to pit here at Bristol.
Yeah, Doc, there's really only 4 good pit stalls at Bristol, and they are on the corners of the pit roads. We have those 2 pit roads. This is Brendan Gaughan's pit. He's got the #1 pit stall. The reason this is a good pit stall is once he's finished, he can just drive straight out on the racetrack, not worry about traffic and going around somebody that's making a pit stop. Now, Carl Edwards has the same pit stall on the backstretch. He has the same advantage. He can get in there and get out of his pit unobstructed. And then if you move around over here on the front stretch, you'll see the other good pit stalls are at the beginning of these pit roads. This is Jason Keller's pit stall. This is a good pit stall because he can drive right straight into his pit without having to go around a car and get crooked in his pit stall. And then Kyle Busch, he has the same pit stall on the backstretch, the first pit stall as you come down pit road, and he'll have a really good chance of making a good pit stop and getting out, even though he is at the 43rd spot. And this guy here is an official. He's got the best look of all this action on pit road. He's going to wear our official cam, a high definition crew cam he's going to have on his helmet, and we'll see some action out of this guy today, I'll guarantee you.
Craig Hippie Anderson down there dodging race cars as they come off of pit road. One of the guys that'll give us a great look today is this guy here, Concrete Carl. Carl Edwards, the 2007 champion, our in-race reporter. Let's visit with Carl.
Carl, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
Hey, Carl, in practice yesterday, was there one particular place on this racetrack that you said, I have to get my car good here to have a chance at winning?
That's a good question, man. You know, the one thing I looked for in practice yesterday was for people to start running the second groove, and I didn't really see it. So, you know, we worked on the bottom of the racetrack with the Scott's Fusion, and, you know, the temperature being low like it is, that you know, the clouds rolling in, I think that's going to be where we have to race on the bottom.
All right, Carl, our second question comes from our ESPN mailbag, and Andre in Troy, North Carolina would like to know, what is a bigger concern for you at Bristol, the other drivers or the strain of the track itself?
Boy, that's a good question. Sometimes it's the other drivers, sometimes it's the track, and sometimes it's me. You know, you got to be careful not to make mistakes. And so it's a really tough track. I mean, you know how it is, Dale. It's you know, it's mentally grueling as well as physically. You know, I was just talking to Jason Keller. We just want to be there at the end, racing for the win.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking with us and have a great day.
Cool, thanks, Dale. Have a good broadcast.
Look forward to riding along with Carl today. We will also have onboard cameras in 6 other cars in today's field. Kyle Busch starting back in 4th position. How about Brad Keselowski? You heard in our countdown show, he came from 37th last August. He will start 15th today in his GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. Well, this track can pose lots of problems in the pits. Now to explain first, here's Shannon Spain.
Doc, one thing you can always count on here at Bristol Motor Speedway is that it's going to be very loud. And that means sometimes communication can become impaired. Now, it's very important for teams to be able to communicate, especially when it comes to making changes on pit road. You can see Scott Cipodelli here for the 38 team. What he can do is he can lean down. He can do hand signals to tell his crew guys how many tires. He also says, talks with an IM from computer to computer to teammates on the other side of the track. And sometimes they'll even use dry erase boards. This is when they need to make some more changes like track bar, wedge. Verbal communication can sometimes never be trusted here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
I see what you're saying, Shannon. Hey, one other problem you can have here at Bristol is pit road speed. It is as slow as they come in the Nationwide Series, 30 miles per hour. Imagine yourself on the interstate having to roll your passenger count down to 30 to get in your neighborhood. And it's not just getting the car slowed down, it's maintaining that speed. That'll be tough for these guys to do here today. They'll have to do it all day long, and there will be no warning from NASCAR. If they speed, there will be a ticket. Vince?
Well, Dave Cruz will tell you this is one of the toughest, most dangerous pit lanes in all of racing. In fact, one crew member said this is a good place to get run over. And the pit boxes are just 28 feet long. With the cars at 17 foot long, one crew chief said it'd be tough enough to drop the car into the box, much less drive it in there. It's going to be a tough day on pit lane, and Mike Massaro, no room for error at Bristol.
That's right, Vince, and if those variables weren't enough, these over-the-wall crew, they face another challenge, and that's rust. They've been off for 2 weeks. Now, certainly, they practice on a day-to-day basis, but nothing can substitute real live race activity. We'll be paying very close attention to rhythm and timing as they come down pit road for the first time, Doc. That could pose a problem.
Indeed it could, guys. Thanks for the updates. Now, this is a 300-lap race. And we told you the pit road speed very, very slow at 30 miles an hour. And Andy, the fuel the pit window may not happen.
Yeah, there's our pit window for fuel, but we won't see that today, folks, because there's just too much action at this track. You'll see a lot of caution flags. Most of the stops will be under caution.
We know who the favorites are. How about some sleepers, guys?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jason Keller starting up in third. I think this is a great opportunity for him to go to victory lane today.
How about Justin Allgaier after his great finish at Vegas? We'll be watching that 12 car too because he's got a fast car in practice.
This broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button presented by ESPN Deportes. Folks, it is Thunder Valley Bristol Motor Speedway. Welcome to full contact stock car racing NASCAR style. The pace car bringing them out of turn 4. We are just about set to turn on the blender, so sit back and enjoy.
Green flag, green flag.
That's how quickly they make a lap here. Less than 15.5 seconds. Brendan Gaughan, one car slipping up. That's Kenny Hendrick off of turn 2. He gets it back in line.
Brendan Gaughan got a nice start at the beginning of the race. Carl Edwards able to get a little separation and fall into second.
See Brendan Gaughan now moving up the racetrack just a little bit, about a half a groove. I saw Kyle Busch in those opening laps work the outside groove pretty well to get by and get a few spots, and now he's moved in on these leaders.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to give too much chance for Carl Edwards to get to the inside of him, though. We heard Carl talk about that's where he tried yesterday to really make his car work, was on the bottom of the racetrack. We see him going to try to take over that top spot right now.
Well, Carl's going to get a look on the inside right here, get into turn 3.
And DJ, when you open a door on the inside of the racetrack, others can follow you through.
Yeah, and he's fortunate right now. You can see Brendan holding on to that spot right now as Carl's not able to make that pass. Probably a little bit loose right at the beginning of this race and hard to make that. But right now there's just the 3 of them up there, so it wouldn't hurt him too bad.
Yeah, with that extra banking up there and those upper grooves, it really helps the car in the upper groove to maintain some momentum. And if he can keep that position, he can take that room that Carl needs, that inside car needs against the wall and actually hurt that inside car.
Andy Ponstein, after a great qualifying run, has taken the 0-2 car to the garage area. We'll try to update their situation here momentarily. Carl Edwards now looking to the inside, has the position on Brendan Gaughan.
Yeah, Carl got a little better run off of turn 2 that time, and he's going to be able to take the lead for sure now. See him slide up right in front of Brendan Gaughan, and here comes, just as you said, Kyle Busch following suit.
Yeah, you see Brendan Gaughan trying to run that outside groove, and it will get better as the race goes on once they get it cleaned off.
4th place changes in the 29 car. Clint Boyer goes by the 27 of Keller.
One thing we are seeing is a lot of side-by-side racing, guys. We got trouble off of turn 4. Mike Bliss in the 1 car.
And Stephen Wallace able to get woed down and get around. Nice job by Stephen Wallace to get by.
You don't see many single car spins or accidents here at Bristol, but this is one time that everybody was able to miss Mike Bliss.
Loose in, I kept.
Mike Bliss, who had that horrific impact at Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, said, all I want to do is get a good finish here, and he almost went away here in the first 10 laps.
He's on the inside trying to make a pass. See, he's really loose. You heard him complain to his crew. Loose in and loose off.
In front of you. Keep coming high. Keep coming.
First caution flag of the day at Bristol Motor Speedway, and one of the veterans, Mike Bliss, loops it around. The good news is everybody missed him. We'll be back to green here momentarily. We are at lap 12 of the Scotts Turf Builder 300 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Under caution for the first time today, one of veteran drivers, Mike Bliss, who normally is pretty good here. These guys are pretty good on the short tracks, as you've seen by that record in the past, but struggling here in the early laps with the spin.
Yeah, you just don't see that out of guys like Mike Bliss and these veterans just spin out like that. But he's trying. He didn't qualify well, and he's trying to move his way back up through there as quick as he could.
Good news is for you Mike Bliss fans, he did not lose a lap. He will remain on the lead lap. We still have 39 cars on the lead lap. Carl Edwards brings him back down to the green flag.
Clint Boyer was ready to go in that 29 Holiday Inn Express car. See him on the inside of Brendan Gaughan trying to take over that 3rd spot.
Yeah, he saw Brendan struggling before that caution came out, working that upper groove, so he wanted to get a position on the inside. He's got the spot here, looks like.
Let's update Brendan Gaughan. Dave.
His car right now loose in and tight in the center, but you'll see him stick to that high line. And Brendan told me that he actually found that line by accident here about 4 years ago in a truck race. Overdrove a corner, found his truck up on the high side, and just stayed up there. He likes it. He's a little bit too loose into the corner right now.
And that's a little bit too high for him, too. That's not where he wants to be up that high.
That's too high. And the track's just so dirty up there. And if you get just a little bit in that dirty part of the racetrack, you got no grip. You saw that. He almost got the fence.
You see moving in on him, that was a 33 car of Kevin Harvick. Now the 18 moving in on the 60. That is Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards. These guys, no love lost. Last time they were here, they had a little pushing and shoving contest last August.
This is the kind of racetrack you get a lot of contact. You see these guys running real close. They're pretty smart racers, though, and you'll see them run close here. But if it comes down to it at the end, they're not afraid to use those bumpers. There goes Kyle Busch on the inside. Carl holds him off pretty well on the outside, though.
Yeah, it's just hard on that inside right now of how tough it is to get a run up out of the corner.
You gotta
see the 81 car into the wall off turn 2.
Kevin Hamlin had run up against the wall all the way through 1 and 2, and now that will bring out caution for the second time.
The whole field, stay up there.
Yeah, we see a lot of parts flying off this car, and there was a close call there. Clint Boyer almost got in the back of one of the cars there, trying to get slowed down.
Brendan Gaughan actually ran over one of the pieces there right into turn 3.
Well, we are averaging 10 laps per green flag here thus far at Bristol. We told you it's a blender. They're bouncing off the wall and each other. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. This weekend, ESPN pitches both World Baseball Classic semifinal games. First tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, Korea takes on Venezuela. Then tomorrow at 8 Eastern, USA faces Japan. The World Baseball Classic semifinals on ESPN tonight and tomorrow. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Under the second caution, there's a 0-2 car, which is our Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass winner. He had gone into the garage area, come back out. He'll be able to go back around the pace car and make up one of the laps he had lost. Here's why we are under yellow here. The yellow coming out on lap 18. The 81 car having some contact with the wall between turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, we see the car go up, not making very hard contact, but some parts start flying out from under the car. Makes you think that maybe some of these parts coming loose is what caused this car to get into the wall. You see Clint Boyer do a great job not to get in the back of Kyle Busch. There's a shock absorber.
I have to think that maybe that created his problems down in the second.
And that shock is in 2. It's actually, that's half of it. The other half somewhere else.
Still on pit road for some repairs, trying to get some of the suspension parts put back underneath the front of that Dodge. And Carl Edwards, our leader behind the pace car, and even Carl Edwards starting to search up and down the racetrack here in the early laps looking for some grooves.
Yeah, these guys are just looking for grip right now to see where they can get fast. He looked in his mirror and saw Kyle Busch catch him very quickly, and Kyle had been running a little bit of a line where he goes up in the center, kind of diamonds the racetrack a little bit over the corner, and then straightens it out coming off the corner, gets a really nice run off there. So I think that's what Carl saw and probably had his spotter to tell him, so he was giving something else a little bit of a try. And that's what these guys will do here until they find exactly what they want.
And it's important for them to do that now. So if the car is going to drive different up in that upper groove, they need to tell their crews so they can make changes on this car. So if he's going to run up there late, the car needs to be adjusted for it.
Let's check in on the Carl Edwards pits. Vince.
Well, Carl says the car is pretty good, but he would like a little bit more grip. So they're talking about an air pressure adjustment when they do come around for that first stop to see if they can get a little more grip that way, and also maybe take away some of the harshness from the bumps that Carl is complaining about. But otherwise, he said it's just been a typical Bristol run so far early on. Pretty happy with the way things are going, especially out front.
I've never seen a driver that didn't want more grip. Sometimes it's hard to give it to them.
Yeah. Now, concrete isn't as temperature sensitive as pavement, but it has cooled off quite a bit here today compared to what it was yesterday.
Yeah, and the temperature, I think, affects the tires more than it does the actual surface of this concrete. You just don't get that heat built up in the tires, and that makes it pretty slick whenever you get started with these radial tires. That's the problem that they'll have on these starts and restarts of the race.
A commitment cone violation, we're being told, on the 81 car, who had already been on pit road for repairs. So Kevin Hamlin starting at the end of the longest line here as we get set for a restart coming down on lap 26. It is Edwards, Bush, Boyer, the top three. Then comes the 38 car, Jason Leffler getting a little racy. Let's see how patient Kyle Busch is going to be here looking underneath the 60 car.
I think he's going to be a little bit patient right here. I know he's a very aggressive, fast race car driver, but he crashed at Las Vegas trying to take a lead early, and I think he's learning some of that. You know, let's just use a little more patience here because we got a great race car, and if I've got it at the end, I can do something with it.
Yeah, you'll probably just wait on Carl to make a little bit of a slip. Sometimes when you get up in that higher line, you know the guy's pressuring you. You get in a little bit hard, and then you slip up, and that allows him to make that pass. We see Kyle still working that bottom side. I believe he'll be able to make that work here. You see Carl slip up just a little bit more.
Carl gets off the corner and able to pull him by about a half a car length, but now Kyle hugging that bottom part of the racetrack.
Yeah, and what you're doing there is Carl is creating a situation where Kyle just can't give all the throttle that he wants to, and he's having to tug on the wheel a little bit more, which really just hurts his exit speed off the corner. Now Carl's just going to let Kyle go on by. This is not the time to be racing that. They'll settle this a little later on probably, in a little different manner maybe.
Pretty good battle back in the pack. Here's the 20 car of Joey Logano and the 99 of Scott Speed.
A couple rookies now. This is if I'm their crew chiefs, I'm telling them this is the time of the race that you need to exercise patience because there's a lot of cars on the racetrack and everybody's kind of impatient.
It's the battle for 13th spot. Shannon.
Well, Joey Logano started this race 23rd. He's very happy with the car right now. Told crew chief Dave Rogers that he can really drive underneath the car coming off the corners. Right there, you see him doing it right there on the racetrack. So he's very happy with his 20 car as he goes to the front.
And if he can drive underneath on the exit of the corner, that's where you really make passes here. You don't pass people going into the corners. You get that run off the corner. So that's going to bode well for Joey as this race goes on.
Only the second time Joey has run in a NASCAR Nationwide Series car here. Started at the back of the pack last August. Had a good top 20 finish.
Yeah, you see Clint Boyer's taking second spot from Carl Edwards. Carl's car is not just exactly like he wants it right now, so I'm sure they're going to adjust it on the first stop.
Saw Kyle Busch make the pass a little bit ago for the lead. He and Carl were running side by side, and you mentioned Carl searching for some grip. Let's see if Carl gives a wave by here.
Yeah, he says, okay, I'll let you have the spot right now, like you said, Dale.
Yeah.
We'll come back and see you later, hopefully.
Probably the last time he sees that from Carl Edwards today if he happens to get back behind him again. But Carl's smart. He knows this isn't the time to be racing. Settle in. He's got a good spot. He's sitting there in third spot right now, and they'll work on the car.
Battle for 7th position here. The rookie, Justin Allgaier. You're riding along here with the 88 of Brad Keselowski. Boy, does he need it to rebound and get a good finish. And in front of him, the 16 of Matt Kenseth.
I was talking to Brad Keselowski down there right before qualifying, and he really felt good about his car. Very confident that he's going to have a good car today. It looks really good right there.
Yeah, and I've been watching Matt some too in this 16 City Financial car, and he seems to be struggling a little bit on the exit of the corner, and that's where Brad was able to get under him.
Got a wreck in turn two, got to slow it down, just slow it down. Two of them right in the center of the racetrack, just slow down.
52 car Trevor Bayne making his debut here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Loops around. Also the car spinning the 61 of Brandon Witt.
Looks like everybody's able to drive away from this without a lot of damage.
Well, that could have been a lot bigger than what it turned out to be. They were in a big group there.
There's the California driver, Brandon Witt.
What did Brad call that in the pre-race show? A big gom down there.
You can see what happened here.
Yeah, just got loose getting down into the corner. 61.
Mike Bliss does a good job to miss all that. It's a good break.
David Green able to get by without contact.
Gets that left front down on the apron there a little bit. Yeah, that'll turn the car pretty quickly and get you loose. That's the one thing that you have to be careful of.
Good job. Caution's out here. Caution's out. Good job, Mike.
Working caution for the third time today already here in the first 41 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. The guy who won it here in the spring, Clint Boyer. He is running in second spot, and right now he's chasing Kyle Busch in a Toyota. Welcome back to the Scotts Turf Builder 300 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We are working caution for the third time today. Here on lap 43, Kyle Busch is our leader. There have been 3 leaders thus far. Brendan Gaughan, who was on the pole, led the first 6 laps. Carl Edwards led 24 laps, and now Kyle Busch has led the last 13. Let's update the 18 car. Mike.
Well, Doc, as the caution came out, Kyle Busch and Jason Ratcliffe discussed the possibility of stopping. Jason said it was just simply too early. Kyle, though, saying the car a little bit snug. He said something else that I thought was pretty interesting. He said the tires are beginning to get that basketball effect. I know you can elaborate a little bit on that, Andy.
Yeah, Mike, what that is, this concrete is, it's unlike asphalt. When you pour asphalt or put asphalt down, it's nice and smooth. Concrete now can have some chattery bumps and stuff in it, and you'll see that even on the racetrack where the black part of the track is where the tires and the track take rubber, and you'll see little chatter marks on it, and that's just it's just a part of concrete racing.
Yeah, and as the tire pressure builds up, that becomes accentuated even more, and you really get a feeling that the front end is literally bouncing up and down on the car.
How appropriate here in March Madness that Kyle Busch is double dribbling. Pace car pulling away, and we'll see if Kyle can now pull away from Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards, and the rest of them as the green waves once again.
You see the 52 car, he did lose a lap there, Trevor Bayne, on that spin, so he'll try to stay in that position to get lucky dogs next time if we have a caution, which I'm sure we will at some point.
I'd bet on it. Clint Boyer led the most laps in both of the NASCAR Nationwide Series races in 2008. He won this race. It was rain shortened. And got past in the final 24 laps, just barely losing the one in August.
Yeah, he just had a little slip-off turn, too. He's got a great car today, too. I feel like that if you're going to win this race, that's the guy you're going to have to beat right there, that 29.
He really works hard at getting his car around the very bottom of the racetrack and really getting up off the corners, and that makes him hard to pass and gives him really good opportunities to make passes. See a battle here between David Reagan and Kevin Harvick in that 33 car.
Harvick's made a lot of ground here. He started 13th. Now he's moved up here well into the top 10.
I was telling you earlier, that paint scheme of Harvick's reminds me of old David Pearson, number 17, when he had that blue with the gold top. It looks good.
How good was Pearson at this place over the years? He was very good back in the day.
He was good everywhere.
Kevin Harvick, if you just joined us, his story is he's trying to win for the first time in his own equipment. 42 times he has driven a Kevin Harvick Incorporated car and has yet to go to victory lane in his own machine.
I think we remind him of it all the time.
Yeah.
He's sick of it.
Yeah, he appreciates that a lot.
Yeah, and speaking of being pretty good here, Harvick is himself at this racetrack.
Yeah, the word down there was he had the car to beat. Here, Brendan Gaughan losing some more spots. Our pole sitter just struggling big time.
Back to 17th position now for the 62 car, who led the first 6 laps, and he will lose another spot.
I tell you, when you commit yourself to that outside the whole time, I think that you're really making a mistake. You got to get down because you're just going to get freight trained these guys one after another. Dave, you have more on Brendan Gaughan?
You know, he was pretty happy with the car. In fact, he said the loose end was improving, and he thought he could make some positions on the high line, but you see that's not happening right now as he continues to go backwards. His teammate, on the other hand, Stephen Wallace, has been going forward. Stephen started in the 31st position and is inside the top 15, so kind of a reversal of roles for these two team drivers.
Yeah, I look at Stephen, though, down on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's like his dad taught him to go around here, and he was a pretty good guy to listen to.
Rusty, a 9-time winner here. We'll be able to catch Rusty in the Legends race coming up later today here at Bristol. That should be fun to watch. There is Stephen, former pole sitter here, still looking for that first win here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. How about the fact that we mentioned his dad got his first major Sprint Cup win here in 1986, and it could be like father like son if the young man want to go to victory lane today.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that his qualifying effort didn't qualify that good, but that's showing up now that they had a race set up in there, and it's working very well for him.
Yeah, and that qualifying setup, it looks like for Brendan Gaughan is not working that well.
Yeah.
But Stephen Wallace has done well here. He's won a late model stock race up here before, and I think early on in his career set on the pole, so he's got a lot of good things going here at Bristol.
Here comes Mr. Harvick on the inside to try to take the 4th position away from Jason Leffler, and Leffler pulls down in front of him to block the spot momentarily.
I don't think he's going to be able to hold Kevin Harvick off very long. Kevin's car is really good on the bottom of the track. You see, get that nice run off the corner. Jason said have that spot for right now.
More on Kevin Harvick, Vince.
Well, Kevin on the track hasn't been a problem this season. It's Kevin in the pits that's been the issue. Kevin Harvick has not been happy with his crew, the job they've been doing over the wall. He's got the Cup crew from Reagan Smith's unit over doing the pit stops today, so we'll see if that's a little better. But he's very happy with his race NASCAR right now. Dave Burns?
Vince, he got by Jason Leffler as our leader Kyle Busch continues to work this traffic up front. Jason Leffler's car has gone tight all the way through the center of the corner. Earlier he thought it was pretty good. He might have been able to hold off that 33 car, but not any longer for Jason Leffler.
Heavy traffic, and here at Bristol, you don't have to worry about looking for any clean air. You don't have any. Oh,
yeah, Brendan Gaughan's got some problems here. He may have a tire down. He's real slow on the front stretch.
yeah, trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. There's Kens that he still can't get down.
That's one of the problems here. Sometimes you can't hardly even get down to get to pit road.
Right rear tire, we're being told.
It could have been what he's been struggling with from the start, is a slow leak.
Now you're going to watch him. He can come in on the front stretch here. He doesn't have to come in off the turn 2 under green conditions.
The right rear is flat 2 tires. Flat 2 tires.
But he still has to get down to 30 miles per hour under the green.
Yeah, he's still going to lose a couple of laps.
And that's
getting
forever.
the tire change.
Yeah.
The right rear is the right rear.
Tough break for a rookie pole sitter coming off his career best finish at Las Vegas last weekend. That same car. Now he'll come down and lose laps under the green flag. At least 2 and maybe 3.
You can see that right rear tire is completely into the cores.
So mark it down. Lap 62, car 62. A right rear tire. Whoa, some near misses here on a very tight racetrack.
You see Justin Allgaier, Joey Logano, 2 rookies, moving their way up.
David Reagan in the 6th car. He is in 6th position. Then Logano in the 20 is 7th. Allgaier the 12 is 8th. And here is the 9th place car, Brad Keselowski.
See right here, they're working some lap traffic. David Reagan looks like he caught the apron just a little bit, Dale, and then a little shot from the rear.
Yeah, Keselowski had to get out of the throttle to keep from running over him, and he got a little shot from Justin Allgaier.
And here is Brad Keselowski getting a little tap and gets out of shape, and Joey Logano able to go around both of them. No harm, no foul, but I'm sure he'll remember that as the race progresses.
Tomorrow, Desperate Housewives is all new. Revenge has found a home in the neighborhood, and it won't rest until a housewife is dead. The most shocking episode yet, Desperate Housewives, all new tomorrow, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, followed by Brothers and Sisters on ABC.
That sounds scary.
Little revenge on the racetrack, too. Remember, just before we went to the commercial break, as we see Kevin Harvick in 33 making a pass on Carl Edwards. That's for 3rd spot. We back up to our previous episode of Brad Keselowski in the 88 and Justin Allgaier in the 12. Well, here's the payback.
Runs up on him there, gives just a little bit of a touch as we go down in the corner.
No pressure from behind.
Just like on Wisteria Lane, stirring it up.
Yeah, you hit me before I could hit you back.
Still there, still there.
Now let's not do that again.
That's exactly right. Now they're square.
So Keselowski running 6th, Joey Logano 7th, and Allgaier 8th. Meantime, up front, Kyle Busch is out ahead of Clint Boyer, the 2nd place driver, by 1.4 seconds. But Doc, DJ, and Andy, the guy on the move, is old Happy Harvick in that 33.
He's looking high, he's looking low, he's passing him anywhere he catches him. Right here on the outside of Clint Boyer. This 33 car is stout.
Everybody in the garage area today talking about they thought Kevin Harvick would be the car to beat. He just had a little issue in qualifying.
And that might hurt him. I mean, when they start coming down pit road under caution, he doesn't have one of these good pit stalls on the corners like these other top qualifiers.
The only good thing is they're putting a lot of cars a lap down, so he may be in between some of those guys that are. But I'd say that, you know, once again, we see Kevin Harvick performing great on the racetrack. Let's hope that his pit crew's up to the task today and does a great job for him in the pits.
Hey, I love seeing the 88 car a minute ago. It proves that at Bristol, you just don't get mad, you just get even.
Yeah, you called that one. You said that they'd probably pay him back, or have to be a payback, and it was.
We just joined our coverage 82 laps in of 300 here. We are in Bristol, Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee. And Kyle Busch, our leader, Kevin Harvick in 2nd position. And here is a tight battle back in the pack.
7th spot right there for my sleeper.
Yeah, your sleeper's doing a great job. Justin Allgaier's doing fantastic. I've watched him a lot here, and he's really working traffic well. He's doing a great job for his first time here. You see, go around the outside trying to Morgan Shepherd.
More on Allgaier, Mike.
And guys, you were talking about how well Allgaier was working traffic. That was one of the things he felt most challenged by during practice. Remember, he had never been here before this weekend, but he's had a pretty good coach from inside the Penske stables. Kurt Busch has worked with him all weekend a few laps ago. He's done a pretty good job with that, though. Shannon?
Mike, definitely it's all about learning this track for some young drivers. Joey Logano making just his second start here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and there's the caution on the track, guys.
Caution for the fourth time today. We saw a couple of cars getting out of shape. There's a 0-1 that's had some contact. Danny O'Quinn Jr.
There could be some debris on the racetrack from this contact. This is some earlier contact on the 0-1. Here we see him slow on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, he had a lot of smoke down as he goes down into the turn.
Yeah, it looks like something under the hood there. Could be a tire rub. It's hard to tell right there with all the damage.
He will bring it on to pit road, and we would expect to see wholesale pit stops here as we are moving in just 14 laps away from lap 100.
Yeah, we'll see pit stops here at lap 86. And some of these guys adjusted on their cars and trying to gain some spots.
Now they got to come in under caution off of turn 2 and run at 30 miles an hour all the way down the backstretch. If you're pitting on the front straightaway, then come around before you can get into your pit.
Yeah, this is NASCAR's attempt to make this actually one pit road, and they've done a great job with it. It seems to work well. You see Kyle Busch is the first one in. Mike?
And Kyle Busch in his stall making their stop. Now team going to work on the right side, saying the car's just a little bit snug. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, but just a slight one. Only a quarter turn as they move their way around to the left side. A 4-tire change on the 18. Vince?
And the 33 of Kevin Harvick will also take on 4 tires in Sunoco fuel. Harvick has just reported that his alternator has gone dead, but the crew doesn't seem to be too worried about it as of yet. Dave?
Up at the front of pit road, going around this racetrack, there is Clint Bowyer. He gives up that third position now for him. Boyer's car at the end of that run was a little tied off. They will need to make a wedge and an air pressure adjustment. Meanwhile, Brad Keselowski in that bright green car further down pit road, they'll reduce the air pressure in both left side tires. He said that his car was getting loose at the end of that run. 29 group finishing up their 4-tire change. You see that wrench in the rear window? That'll change the handling characteristics to the driver's liking, and then he will leave pit road and try to maintain track position. Lots of cars going by Clint Bowyer.
Yeah, it's kind of seemed like an eternity to be able to go around here at 30 miles an hour, and you see that Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski gained a spot, and Clint Bowyer lost 2 positions trying to get in and get those 4 tires changed. Under caution for the 4th time today. Back with a green flag in just a moment. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Under caution for the 4th time today at the Scotts Turf Builder 300 NASCAR Nationwide Series event. Our lucky dog, and during this caution flag, is the 07 car. There is the former series champion and 1994 winner of this race, David Green. He will be able to be the Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass winner and get a lap back. Pit stops have taken place. Joe Nemechek, who did not come in that time, had not pitted since lap 42, stayed on the racetrack, and he will lead him down to the green flag. All the guys behind him have fresh tires, and it should not take them long with fresh rubber to be able to make a move on the inside of Nemechek. Here goes Kyle Busch.
Yeah, but it's still a good strategy. He pitted, like I said, on lap 42, and staying out right here is a good move for him to try to gain some track position, because if the cautions will fly right, he'll make up a lot of spots doing this. He's going to lose some of these leaders because they're faster, but he's hanging tough on the outside of Kyle Busch.
Battle here, the 88 car for 4th position. Brad Keselowski up high, the 29 of Bowyer on the bottom.
Bowyer able to make that pass out of turn 4 on Brad Keselowski.
Boy, Kevin Harvick almost into the back of the 18 car a moment ago and had to jump on the brakes and sort of cut it hard left.
Yeah, how about this race right here for the lead? Joe Nemechek still has the lead. Harvick and Kyle Busch are trying to settle second spot. Nemechek doing a great job here, though.
Kyle gets right to his bumper there off turn 2. That seems to be the one place that Joe's struggling just a little bit, but everywhere else around the racetrack, he's doing a great job. You see Kevin Harvick try to go for the lead now on the inside.
Harvick is yet to lead today. And is he having a problem, though, Vince?
Well, Kevin Harvick says his alternator is not working. Crew chief Ernie Cope came to him and said, "What's your voltage?" Kevin said 12.5, and it seems to be holding steady. Kevin seemed a lot more worried about it than Ernie Cope, so maybe Ernie's just playing a little psychology with them. They've got all their fans and everything turned off that they can. So far, so good, as you see him running strong on the track, but it's definitely a concern in the mind of Kevin Harvick.
Well, Vince, right now he's got his fans on their feet because they're loving what they're seeing, that Kevin Harvick is on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get by Joe Nemechek.
It's a great race for the lead. Look at all these cars. Joe Nemechek doing a great job on the outside, but you got Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, all these guys. Clint Boyer, now Brad Keselowski's joined the mix.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin, look, he gets loose down in turns 1 and 2. Goes up the track. Here comes Carl Edwards.
3 wide on the backstretch at Bristol.
We heard Kevin in the countdown show say that that's the one place that he has to be careful getting loose into turn 1. That's exactly what he did there.
Now we'll see if Carl Edwards can handle Joe Nemechek. Again, Edwards has tires that are 47 laps newer than Nemechek's.
Oh, really gets a good run. He's got the lead now off turn 4.
Contact right there on the straightaway. Carl not quite clear of Joe Nemechek and moved over on him, getting in the corner.
Challenge for third spot now, the 18 of Kyle Busch trying to sneak to the bottom underneath Kevin Harvick, but he will hold the position. Let's update the 87 car, Nemechek. Shannon.
What a great run for Joe Nemechek. He has not been in a nationwide car here at Bristol since 2005. As you guys said, he came down on lap 42, took 4 tires and fuel. The car was just a little bit tight, but really a good run for this 87 team here today.
Joe Nemechek has not won here. He has had 4 top 10 finishes and been awfully good at this track over the years and just hanging in that middle to upper groove there.
Yeah, he's trying the best he can with those older tires and doing a good job. He got a little damage on that left front fender, though, from that contact with Carl Edwards.
One of the former winners here, Kevin LePage, has taken his car to the garage area, the 73 car. Here's the 34 off the pace, Tony Raines.
Tony's just trying to get down out of the way.
3,600.
He's able to do that now as the leaders start to come up on him.
Carl Edwards is pulling away now, the margin about half a second here.
Yes, those guys were battling. Carl was able to get out front and get a little bit of distance between them. It's like they made some adjustments that helped his car.
Yeah, but Harvick beat him just a few hundredths of a second that last lap. So, you know, it looks like Kevin Harvick's car is better in these longer runs as they run just a few more laps. You see that 33 car really come on strong.
First run of the year for the driver in the 98 car, Paul Menard, who will run 16 times in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, having a pretty good run.
Yeah, he's good at this racetrack. When he drove for me, the first time we came up here, it just this track really fit him and his style well. He runs well. He's doing good.
Dave?
And he hasn't been feeling very well, so this is a positive for him. He started 11th, a good qualifying run. Crew Chief Matt Pushin told me that we can run with the leaders if we can just get our track position back. Right now, he's lost the leaders, but they hope with an air pressure adjustment on that last stop, the car will handle better for Paul. Shannon?
Matt Kenseth driving that 16 car here today. That was a late ad because Greg Biffle injured his ribs on Tuesday. There's been a little bit of eventful day for the 16 team. Under that last pit stop, Matt Kenseth said the throttle was sticking. They were going to bring the car back down pit road just to see what was causing that problem. They have decided to just ride it out for right now, but we'll definitely keep our eyes on that.
Thank you, Shannon. And DJ, I know drivers are supposed to be fearless, but a throttle sticking at Bristol can get your attention.
Yeah, in a hurry. That's yeah, you don't want that happening anywhere, but there's other places you have more time to react if that should happen. And this isn't one of those places. So I'm sure that Matt felt that he had the problem solved there. It wasn't as big an issue as what he originally thought. He wouldn't have stayed out there.
Well, when the race began and it was overcast and cloudy, Carl Edwards' car wasn't very good. Now the sun's come out and Carl pulling away as our leader. Back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
And all new Castle is on Monday at 10 Eastern after a new Dancing with the Stars on ABC. ABC's Castle rewriting the book on solving crime. Crime author Nick Castle and Detective Kate Beckett take a novel approach at solving a prep school murder caught on tape. Castle Monday, 10 Eastern, 9 Central on ABC. In the ESPN pit studio, Alan, Rusty, and Brad watching a pretty good race between Kevin Harvick in the 33 for second, and this is Kyle Busch you're looking from in third.
Yeah, you can see right now that the top groove is starting to come in a little bit. They can run the bottom, the top groove, and boy, some tight racing out there, though. I mean, you see Kyle Busch really accelerating up in the bumper of Kevin Harvick, Brad.
Yep.
Good racing right now.
Boy, you see the professionalism in these guys driving, especially Kyle Busch. He runs right in there on top of Kevin Harvick, gets within inches, doesn't disturb him, doesn't touch him, but stays right with him. But I'll tell you, David Reagan is a guy we haven't talked about at all, and he is stuck right there in that top 6 spot, and he's moving forward. I think he's going to be a threat before the day is over with.
Keep an eye on car number 6 as he begins to creep into the frame for the lead cars. Carl Edwards is out in front. Edwards, sponsored by Scott's, the sponsor of the race here at the track today. You always want to do good in your sponsor's
Oh,
race.
if you can win for your sponsor, that's big. That really makes you feel good in victory lane, I'll tell you that.
Now, we've talked about some of the guys racing for the lead. Let's drop back into the pack a little bit as Nationwide brings you up to speed. The 12 car is Justin Allgaier for Penske Racing. He's running in 10th position now. Young driver who's having himself a very solid performance at a racetrack, as we mentioned a few minutes ago. He's never seen before coming here to run.
I'll tell you what, he's got a lot of patience right now. That's what this track is all about. You got to have a lot of patience, and he's showing it right now.
All right, let's go up to speed, presented by Nationwide. Mike, what are they saying in the 12 pit?
And Alan, when it's your first time at Bristol Motor Speedway, it certainly doesn't hurt to have a guy teaching you who has won here 5 times. Kurt Busch has been Justin Allgaier's tutor all weekend long. He spent practice yesterday with him, actually comparing his line to Kevin Harvick, trying to tell him where to run, giving him a line, giving him a way into the corner and off of the corner. He's a very quick study, and he's mimicked every one of those lines and really paid attention to Kurt's advice. Shannon?
Well, to learn this track, Joey Logano and the 20 team, they've used a program that superimposes Joey's number 20 car over the car of one of the other veterans on the racetrack, so Joey can see where his line is in comparison to some of the other guys. Right now, Logano is struggling with a very tight race car. They took a big whack at it on the last pit stop, took a spring rubber out, but it's still tight for Joey.
Shannon, in contrast, we know where Steve Wallace got his Bristol knowledge. It was in the family. He's running that low line, as DJ said, like Rusty used to, and the car has improved since that last stop. The car was just a little bit tight in the center of the corner, wouldn't turn the way he wanted it to, and by reducing the air pressure in the left rear, he's made it turn even better. Mike?
Talking with Scott Speed's crew chief Jerry Baxter before the race, he told me they really struggled during practice yesterday, especially with the handling through the middle of the corner. It hasn't really improved all that much this afternoon. Still very tight. And if you look at the last set of tires that came off that tire, worn down to the cords on the left front. Vince?
Well, Scott Lagacy's having a pretty good run today. This is his first nationwide race ever at Bristol. He spent some time chatting with our man Rusty Wallace, trying to glean some knowledge about how to best get around this place. Looks like it's paying off a bit. He says the nose is sliding somewhat, but otherwise he's pretty happy with the race car. The 15 car of Michael Annett, also his first time here. We've got a caution. We'll come back.
Caution on the racetrack here, 5th time today.
It's like Kenny Hendrick's been in the wall, dragging some parts on the backside.
That's the 42 car. And after his best qualifying run of his career, starting in the top 10, you see the damage. Doesn't take much just to peel away the side of the car and part of the back.
Well, you can't hardly hit soft at Bristol anyway. It doesn't matter where you make contact. Usually pretty hard. You have to get that cleaned up.
Carl Edwards, our leader. When Carl won here back in the spring of 2007, he led 147 of 300 laps. He has now led 60 laps.
Here's Joey Logano with a flat left rear tire. This caution came out just in time for him.
There might have been a little contact to make that happen. He and Stephen Wallace were running pretty hard there.
Yeah, 11th and 12th position, and now Stephen has gone by, and Logano will be headed to pit road. Or actually, Stephen will go by as Logano has the pit road.
What are they going to do now, crew chief? Pit or stay out?
This is what I was talking about. This is hard to figure out when to make these stops, when to stay out. You know, we saw Joe Nemechek stay out after he pitted about 45 laps sooner than the other guys.
Take care of it until they open pit road. All right, Turkey, do that air pressure. Get the track lob a round and a half. Get a round and a half a wedge on the left rear. You're going to need a flat tire jack on the left side.
Okay, pit road still closed that time by. So the crew chiefs have another lap to think about it.
Yeah. They were calculating yesterday. In fact, some of the Roush guys were actually walking the racetrack, 2 engineers measuring the bottom and the top to see if you ran on a certain part of this racetrack, you could get a little better fuel mileage by having a shorter distance. Here's the contact that created the problem with the left rear tire for Joey Logano.
Actually, Allgaier that gets into the left rear, and you can see a little smoke fly right there and probably just knocked the sideball out of that left rear.
They say you can make it 150 laps on field. They're going to have to roll the dice. I guess you don't have a lot of choice here. Here they come with 161 laps to go. Carl Edwards and the others on pit road. Mike.
Kyle Busch on pit road. The team was prepared to make a chassis adjustment, but right before he hit his stall, the team threw the wrenches away. Just a 4-tire change for the 18 car. Kyle pretty happy with the way things are going so far. Vince.
The 60 car of Carl Edwards, he is happy with his car as well. As you see the crew go around with a 4-tire stop. They are going to make an air pressure adjustment, but otherwise, Carl is happy with the race car. Shannon Spake.
Vince, Matt Kenseth in that 16 car has been struggling with the loose condition all day long. They're going to make a track bar adjustment on this pit stop, 4 tires for that 16 car. Dave.
Shannon, in so many words, 4th place Clint Boyer said, I like what you did, give me more. That means another wedge adjustment in that car, another air pressure adjustment as well. Still a little bit tied off, and as they finish filling it with Sunoco fuel, they'll try to pick up positions this time with that 4-tire change. First, second, third go by. He's going to lose 2 more positions.
Wow, Clint Boyer lost 2 spots on that first exchange on pit road, and now Clint Boyer will lose 2 more, coming in 4th and going out 6th under this yellow flag. Kyle Busch gaining a spot, as did Keselowski and David Reagan.
You see, pit stops are very important here. Lose those spots are hard to get back.
There's the race off of pit road right there. The yellow line marks the scoring. And by just that much, Edwards able to beat Kyle Busch off. And so why don't we visit with Carl Edwards, our in-race reporter.
Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. Got it?
Gotcha.
Hey, man, looks like you made some nice adjustments on that car and got it out front. Any more adjustments this stop?
Yeah, we did just a little bit more, so hopefully it's not too much. You know, it's hard to tell because, you know, the traffic was such a big factor. That last run, I got by a 33 in 18 because they were racing so hard with Nemechek there. But heck, it was good. I enjoyed it while it lasted, so hopefully we keep on doing it.
Hey, Carl, we started with cloudy conditions. Now the sun has come out. Is that affecting the racetrack any?
I don't know. It might be. Whatever it is, our car is good right now. So, you know, I don't want it to get back. You know, I don't want those clouds to come back again.
All right, Carl, thanks. Good luck.
All right, buddy, that was 1 to go. You are coming to the green.
And that's what I was just getting ready to say. We're going to come down to the green flag. Awfully nice of Carl Edwards to be our in-race reporter and talk to us as he has now led 3 times for a total of 63 laps today. Kyle Busch has led 57 laps. Joe Nemechek 12. Brendan Gaughan, our pole sitter, has led 6 laps, and Clint Boyer has led 2 laps.
You see Clint Boyer losing spots on pit road, but he's been adjusting on his car quite a bit, and I think that's why they're taking this extra time on pit road to try to get his car better.
Tim Reagan moved up into 5th there. He's been very solid, as Brad Daugherty was talking about. He's been solid right there from 6th on up the entire day. It'll be interesting to see now that he's starting in 5th what he can do.
David Reagan, who will run 21 races here in 2009 as the green flag waves again. Kyle Busch looking at the high
shot
side.
on the outside. It's going to work, too. It's a good shot off turn 2.
Wow, what a run that was.
I think he had a plan when that green came out.
He did, didn't he?
Think he's pulled it down in high gear yet?
He worked that plan to perfection, too, and got the lead.
I'll tell you what, guys, that second groove looks like it's really coming in right now, and everybody needs to remember this is multi-groove banking. After this track was rebuilt at 26 degrees in the bottom, it goes all the way up to 30 degrees, so I tell you, they're taking advantage of that second groove now. That's going to create a lot of momentum, and you saw, guys, that's just what Kyle Busch needed. That's what he did. It's working for him right now.
And Rusty, when they changed this racetrack in August of 2007, he actually gave more than one groove to race on, so when it does come in, you can actually pass up even higher.
Yeah, exactly right, Doc. I mean, everybody used to run right on the bottom. The racetrack was pretty physical, a lot of beating and banging, a lot of fans loved it, but the drivers really love the way this thing is right now. It's like I said, they can run on the bottom, the middle, and the top because of this multi-groove banking angles.
Hey, Rusty, I'm going to be interested to watch you here tonight when you get into your race, because you never got off the bottom of the racetrack before. more? Are we going to see you move up a little bit?
I don't know, Dale. I'm being a little scared to get up top. I mean, I know it's working right now.
He
but
talks a good game.
No matter what happens, the way it's going to line up tonight, we're going to have to start on the outside. The legends are, because of the way they're going to run these heat races. So no matter if I like it or not, I'm going to have to start in the second side.
What they're talking about, folks, is coming up at 6 o'clock tonight on ESPN2. There's going to be a Legends race. And yes, Rusty Wallace, Junior Johnson, Cale Yarborough, so many guys coming out of retirement. It is the Scott Saturday Night Special at Bristol Motor Speedway, starting at 6 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2. Boy, that should be fun to watch. And by the way, a legend joining us in the booth.
Yeah, it should be fun. Going to have a good time here. My dad's actually going to come up and join us and talk about these other guys on the racetrack. See Mike Bliss here in the one car. He's really struggling. Steve Wallace goes by him on the inside, but he got a little boot from Jason Leffler a few minutes ago. He was in Jason's lane, and Jason was ready to go a little faster.
And Mike Bliss just struggled all day, qualifying not very well in the like 22nd spot. And here he is, just still struggling on the racetrack. Uncharacteristic of Mike Bliss.
And they line up single file here momentarily as back up front it is Kyle Busch, who has now reassumed the lead. The 11th lead change in the first 152 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. It is Busch, Edwards, Harvick, Keselowski, and Reagan. Under caution once again here at the Scott's Turf Builder 300 Bristol Motor Speedway. Caution for the 6th time today. The caution coming out on lap 155, the 36 car. 18-year-old Mark Davis having an issue. And there is Mark, who's been on and off pit road. You see the damage on the back of his car. Here's what happened.
Yeah, it looks like Bernie Lamar gives him a little shot here.
Wow, a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like he meant to move him out of the way, and he did. That's unfortunate for Mark. He was first time here, just getting some experience, doing a pretty good job.
Just part of short track racing, though. And Bristol is one of the best.
Mark Davis back on pit road. The 16 cars had some issues. That is Matt Kenseth. Let's go down and visit with his crew chief and talk to him. Shannon?
Yeah, Doc, this is the first race Matt Kenseth is with the 16 team. So Drew Blickensderfer has come down to try to help with the communication. How much time have you spent with his team this weekend, Drew?
I haven't spent much at all. You know, Eddie does a great job. The City Financial guys are good on pit road, and the car's running pretty good. I figured if I'm going to watch in the hotel, I might as well stay here and watch.
Can you give us an update on the throttle situation? Under the last pit stop, he came down and said that the throttle was sticking a little bit.
Under green flag, it seems to be fine. Under caution, for some reason, the way the car's loaded up, riding around there slow, it seems to stick, but it's only at half throttle, so it's not a major concern to him.
All right, Drew Blickensderfer pulling double duty here today.
Well, hopefully that'll not be an issue the rest of the race of the day, but the issue that will be in line is how can you handle Kyle Busch? The 18 car, the kid, awfully good coming off a disappointment in Las Vegas. He is the leader here at Bristol, Tennessee. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, let's listen into the 60 radio for Carl Edwards.
It looked like he took off there a little bit, but you were going to gain back on him there. The longer you ran, the way it looked there. So we got one more chance at it here. So we'll get it.
What we're referring to is the restart when Kyle Busch just drove around the outside of Carl Edwards to take the lead, and we'll see what Carl has. Got at least one more shot. I think he's got more than one shot left.
Yeah, and I think they were talking about they're going to have one more adjustment on it as far as coming in the pits and making a little bit more of an adjustment as they will have to pit one more time at some point in time, probably somewhere in the, depending on when cautions fall, but anywhere between lap 200 and I'd say 220, they like to get on pit road.
How about Concrete Carl? How he has been awfully good here. He has 9 wins on concrete in NASCAR. Of course, his wins here, the NASCAR Nationwide Series, has also won the last 2 fall NASCAR Sprint Cup events. And as we alluded to at the beginning of the show, it was back last August where Kyle Busch dominated the night in the Sprint Cup car, leading 415 laps, but it was Carl Edwards who went to victory lane.
He had a little bit of a tough time getting around the 62 car there, Brendan Gaughan, and so that got a little bit of space between Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards.
Always dicey on these restarts with all the lap cars down on the inside.
I think here in Dover have always been the toughest places that you get when you get lap cars and trying to get going on the restarts, and just not a lot of room, and everybody can run fast on the new tires.
You know, these lap cars, they can't just move over because they're racing for their spots and positions, not to mention the lucky dog spot. So there's racing everywhere.
In this group here, you see the moving back from like the 8th, 9th, 10th. You got Menard, Leffler, Allgaier in the 12 car, then Stephen Wallace. Scott Speed making only his second start in the 99 car. Wallace has come all the way up from 31st starting position and is now inching his way toward the top 10. He's 11th.
He's done a really good job all day. He and Justin Allgaier have raced around each other a lot. And he just keeps working his way up there and working his way up there. I think he'll get to that top 10 position here shortly.
See the RPMs right here. They don't drop a lot at this track because you keep a lot of momentum. There's Allgaier up out of the groove off turn 2.
Yeah, he really got loose in the center and the exit of turn 2. That let Stephen Wallace get to that 10th position.
Nice and smooth. Just get back in your rhythm right here. No harm, no foul.
Here's what happened to the 12 car entering turn 1, and watch between turns 1 and 2.
Trying out that upper groove, and his car's just a little bit too free.
Yeah.
See, he does a good job to keep from spinning out and not having any contact.
It looked like he was going to try to go to the outside of Jason Leffler. See what happens here inside the car, ain't it?
Oh, baby. Doing some quick steering.
That's a smooth clear.
Very seldom is it a good thing at this racetrack, this half-mile track, that you're turning the wheel right.
No.
Justin told me he's been watching video, although he's never raced here. He's watched lots of video to watch the onboard cameras to learn about what happens at this racetrack. Gotta believe that helped him a little bit there.
Trouble in turns.
Mike Bliss is around. He's in the wall pretty hard, too.
And he will come off the wall. Oh, just getting by Kenny Hendrick.
Yeah, Morgan Shepherd got into him a little bit. Mike Bliss has been holding up a lot of people. He's just struggling with his race car. He got hit a little bit earlier by David Reagan, and then that time Morgan Shepherd got into the left rear of him as they went into turn 3.
It's going to be a frustrating place when you got a car that's not handling properly, and you can't really, like you said, you can't get out of the way.
It's the hardest racetrack I ever raced on is when your car wasn't very good, to try to stay out of the way and still run reasonably hard. Just the hardest thing to do, because just as we talked about, lap times are 16 seconds and just not a lot of room here.
There was the contact with Shepherd in the 89 car.
Not much contact either. You see, it doesn't take much to get somebody turned around here.
7th yellow flag of the day here. We told you Bristol was all about full contact stock car racing, NASCAR style, and you're seeing it here. There's the 89, Shepherd into Bliss, and the yellow flag waves. Back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Just 124 laps remaining here at Bristol Motor Speedway. The 33 car, Kevin Harvick, has had an issue early on. Let's listen in and see what's happening now with the alternator.
How's your volts looking? Just above 12 on the heavy side of the 12 line now. Haven't even lost a half a volt yet. We should be fine because it's been 85 laps since you mentioned it, and we only got 140 to go, so we should be okay.
To explain, let's go down to our Craftsman Tech Garage and have Tim Brewer show us what we're talking about.
Thank you very much, Jerry. The first thing the drivers are going to do when they have an alternator problem, reach over here and cut off all the brake blower switches and the fans. Cut everything off, because what he's interested in is the voltmeter gauge. It's on 12 volts right there. It takes about 14 volts to run these systems, but I think they'll be fine to the end of the race.
And as the voltage goes away, the horsepower goes away, and it starts to sputter and miss.
It'll run pretty good until it gets down to about 8 volts, and that's where you got to really start worrying about it. Looks like he'll be good so far here. He's holding 12 volts plus, and that's a good sign.
He had a real good car at Kansas last year and had an alternator issue there, which cost him a lot of time and probably cost him a top 5 finish. Getting set for the restart here in Bristol, Tennessee. Kyle Busch, the leader, Edwards, Harvick, Brad Keselowski, and Clint Boyer. Let's listen in to the spotters as we go full throttle.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Green flag, green flag, green flag. No pressure from the 29. He's one back. 4 cars down low. You'll be clear. Inside. Still there, the 89. Clear. Clear. That's right with you there. Just the 89 inside. All clear. Inside at your door. Still there at your door. One more here. Bumper. Outside. All clear.
Kyle Busch leading him off. Carl Edwards, then Harvick. The 62 car, Brendan Gaughan, actually 3 laps down. He was the pole sitter, but he is not in the mix here on the lead lap. There's a separation between first and second.
Kyle Busch is just so strong on these restarts in the first few laps after a restart. And he puts that distance on Carl Edwards. I think Carl can kind of maintain after they run a few laps, but boy, that 18 car gets gone.
Inside the top 10, DJ, the 66 is continuing to move.
Yeah, he's trying to take that spot away from Jason Leffler. Steve Wallace's car's really been good on the bottom of the racetrack. He's done a nice job coming up through traffic all day long, too, because that's really hard. You have a young man that sometimes your patience gets worn thin at this racetrack, but he's done a really good job of keeping the front end of that car clean today.
More on Stephen Wallace, Dave.
And of course, they've been coaching him about that all day, keep the car clean, but also he needs just a little bit more adjustment on his final pit stop to get that car to turn in the center of the corner. That was a problem earlier, still wants it to do a little bit more. They're talking about reducing the air pressure again in that left rear tire.
Thanks, Dave. And they are black flagging, by the way, Mike Bliss after an improper re-entry onto the racetrack. It'll be a pass-through penalty, so his day goes from bad to worse.
I tell you, when it rains, it pours sometimes, and these short tracks can really do it to you.
Yeah, and if his car wasn't bad enough whenever before it got damaged trying to get out here now. But Morgan Shepherd spins off of turn 4.
Caution's out. Caution's out.
And he will have some damage in the back of his car. Morgan, the 4-time winner here at Bristol, Tennessee.
Shorten that car up a foot or two. Pretty square right on the back bumper.
Should get a lot of downforce on the rear. That spoiler up in there. Well, the spoiler's really not. It's just exactly it's crumpled up there.
Got something sticking up there.
Now, Morgan doesn't have sponsorship. That is the only race car he has. Let's see. Here's the contact. Paul Menard.
Yeah, Paul gets into the back of Morgan and gets him spun around here. Now you see how it hits the wall and tears up the whole back end.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Morgan was 2 laps down there, and Paul Menard having a good day and everything. And he's wanting to, keep going, moving forward. He sees David Reagan in the spot right in front of him, and he knows he needs to get by there, and just got to the throttle a little sooner than what Morgan did.
Paul Menard being shown up in the 8th position. Caution wave for the 8th-time a day and the 15-time winner in NASCAR nationwide competition, Morgan Shepherd's Chevrolet, heavily damaged. Kyle Busch, our leader, back in just a moment.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Sears. For fashion statements we can all live with, come to Sears. Life well spent. And Verizon Wireless. Get your head in the game right on your phone with sports clips, scores, stats, news, and more. Only on VCast from America's most entertaining network, Verizon Wireless.
We are just about at the 2/3 mark of today's Scott's Turf Builder 300 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch currently out in front. He, Carl Edwards, and Kevin Harvick kind of been locked up, but a pretty good fight for the race lead for much of the opening 2/3 of this race. Not atypical for Bristol. 8 caution flags for 44 of the 191 laps that we have completed so far. The most recent of those yellows involving Morgan Shepherd in the 89 car, who afterwards heard this from his race team.
98 car came down and apologized. Said he totally did not mean to do it. Said he apologized.
Yeah, and guys, this is a big blow to Morgan Shepherd, who this is his best race car, one of only a few he has. And this car is sponsored by Eldora Speedway, which Tony Stewart owns, and it's a car that was given to Morgan from Kevin Harvick, racer to racer. So we hope he can get this thing fixed, maybe get a rear clip on it, get it back to the racetrack in one piece in the near future.
Morgan was running 22nd at the time of the wreck. Rusty, thoughts before we go restart here on the race?
Brad Keselowski, pretty impressed with him. He's 4th right now. He's in a hole. He needs a good run to get back into points.
Here we go.
Kyle Kyle Busch pulled to about 3 car lengths over the 60 car of Carl Edwards. Kevin Harvick, another 4 back in the 33 car in third. Then comes Clint Boyer. And there's one of the cars that they were talking about, the 88 of Brad Keselowski, with the 16 going by.
Yeah, Brad's got himself caught up on the high side behind a lap car. He's able to get down now behind Matt Kenseth in front of David Reagan. Lost a spot there, though.
Matt Kenseth just having a typical Matt Kenseth day. Just slowly, quietly working his way up into the top 5.
And again, if you just joined our coverage, Matt Kenseth was not supposed to drive this race here. It was supposed to be Greg Biffle. Biffle, during the off week, slipped and fell on a boat dock and injured some ribs in his back, and they're bruised, not broken. So he's added Matt sub for him in the Nationwide car today.
Comes my sleeper, Justin Allgaier, working on Stephen Wallace on the outside right here.
That's for 10th position. In front of them, the 38 car of Jason Leffler in 9th. The 1 car of Mike Bliss, who had several issues today, has now gone back to the garage area for extensive repair. Justin Allgaier doing a great job here. And remember, this 22-year-old case coming here for the first time, and we asked him about it, the excitement of coming to Bristol for the first time as a driver.
I am so excited to go to Bristol. That's one of the races that I've had circled on my schedule for a while. I've been to Bristol as a spectator. I sat in the grandstands. It was like 2 rows up, covered in rubber when the race was over. It was great.
Do you remember coming here the first time as a driver, DJ?
As a driver, yeah, it was exciting. It's just like no other place. I mean, and even now, especially you come here and you see this just fantastic facility. It just gets you excited knowing that there's going to be over 100,000 people here, and it's just a fun place to race. If you're a race driver, this is what it's about: a short track racing with high banks and a lot of speed.
Justin Allgaier's gotten by Stephen Wallace. Now he's working on Jason Leffler.
Remember, Allgaier.
I'm sorry, 38 car, and you see Paul Menard in the 98 car ahead of these guys.
Remember, Allgaier led some laps at Las Vegas. And here back in the top 15, you see the 32 car. That is Bernie Lamar making his first start of the year, and he's getting passed by the 20.
Got to be a lot of pressure on Bernie to get in this car. The success that some of these Joe Gibbs drivers have had in that thing. He's got to jump in there and try to match results with those guys. It's kind of tough.
Yeah, it looked like he's fighting a little bit of a loose situation there. He got past kind of on the inside and outside. Fell back a little bit. Vince?
Well, he's been Bernie Lamar in that 32, feeling a little bit of pressure coming into this race because the team was second in points. Brian Vickers had 3 top 8 finishes in the first 3 races. Lamar said certainly there's pressure following Vickers' performance, but with a good run of his own, he feels like it would be a positive feeling around the team. And as you see, currently 15th, having a good, steady run. He'll run 21 races this season. It's his first NASCAR nationwide race this time around. What a way to get your feet wet, huh, at Bristol. And coming off the birth of his little girl, CL, with his wife, Nikki. So a very happy couple of weeks for Bernie Lamar.
He is doing a great job under a lot of pressure, especially coming to Bristol.
Yeah, there's just nothing easy about coming here at all and get in the race. And it said he hadn't been in the car for a while, so he's doing a really good job. And trying to get the feel of that back, and at a place like this, that things happen so quickly.
Kevin Harvick now easing in on the 60 car of Carl Edwards. That would be for the 2nd spot.
Definitely put some pressure on Carl, and that 18 car is not too far ahead of these 2 guys.
Yeah, I think that's the key, Andy, is Kyle Busch hasn't gotten far away from these guys, so we're going to have a 3-car race here shortly.
We just joined our coverage. 209 of 300 laps are down here in Bristol, Tennessee. We have had 7 different leaders, 11 lead changes. We've had 8 caution flags for a total of 45 laps. And now Kevin Harvick trying to move on the inside. Just can't get it to grab the racetrack.
You know what Harvick is looking for is a long run right here. If he can get a lot of green flag laps, his car really comes around in these long runs.
That goes back to Kevin Harvick being a really good chassis guy, knowing his race car and being able to get a setup in there that'll be sufficient on restarts, but really go as we get a lot of the laps run here under green flag conditions.
And that's a big trade-off sometimes when you're talking about setting the car up. You know, you want to try to have a car good in the long runs, but you never know how these races, especially at Bristol, will go. And you know, typically there are a lot of short runs, and if you don't get a long run, you got a good long run car, then you can't use it.
Can you adjust the car? They're going to probably get at least one more shot on pit road. Can you make a change to make it more of a short run car?
Oh yeah, you can make a lot of changes to do that, but you know, I think once you kind of play your hand, you want to play it all the way out.
I'd say that most of that was done that where he keeps his tires from wearing out is probably done with shock absorbers and those type things, which aren't going to be adjustable. But air pressure and a little bit of wedge out, if he's starting out a little bit tight, then he can adjust things like that.
The key thing is if he's able to drive by these guys and get the lead in a long run, and then you have a caution in a short run, then that's when you want to pump those tires up, do some things that'll make it, at least crutch it for a short run car.
Good mix here, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. There's the 8th place car, Paul Menard. Behind him is Leffler, then Allgaier and Stephen Wallace.
It's a tight race right here. These guys have been racing nose to tail for quite a few laps.
They've really done a good job of staying off of each other too, because they've run up on some lap traffic and gotten really close. When you do that, sometimes it bunches you up, could run into the back of one another and create a bad situation, but they've done a really good job of not letting that happen.
I saw Allgaier actually pass Stephen Wallace on the outside. I'm surprised he hasn't tried that a little more here. He's kind of committed back to the bottom once he got by Stephen and not being able to make much more ground.
Leaders in pretty heavy traffic. Kyle Busch able to go around the wounded car number 36 of Mark Davis. Less than 100 laps to go, 83 to be exact, here in Bristol, Tennessee. It is Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Brad Keselowski.
.76 laps to go in the Scotts Turf Builder 300, the NASCAR Nationwide Series in Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee. There's your race leader, Kyle Busch. Kyle has been out in front for 138 of the 2 1/4 that we have run so far. Now, just before we went to the break, we saw the leaders putting a lap on Jason Keller. Here's a car that started 3rd, but he finds himself back in 29th spot, 4 laps down. Shannon, what happened?
Well, Alan, I think that was also Dale Jarrett's sleeper for today's race. It's been such an eventful day. About lap 91, the team realized that they were down a cylinder. They've been on and off pit road since. They say the car is making so much noise, but they are keeping their spirits high. In fact, Jason Keller asked his crew chief, "Can you hear what this car sounds like?" His crew chief said, "Yeah, I've heard some stock cars at the local dirt track sound better." Alan?
And it's hard to hear anything down there at Bristol, especially when something's not going right. That can be tough to diagnose. Now, with one set of pit stops still to go, what are they saying in some of these front runners' pits getting ready for that final stop? Nationwide takes you up to speed. Mike Massaro has the leaders' pit. That's Kyle Busch's group. Mike?
Well, Alan, Kyle obviously has a very strong car, but that does not mean they're without concern. Take a look at this tire. This is the right rear, their first set. It came off at lap 192. It's worn all the way around to the cords. Now, the following pit stops have revealed that the tire wear has been much better, but Jason Ratcliffe still very concerned, especially about left side tire wear. They do not want to see this race come down to a long green flag run. Dave?
Well, Carl Edwards in the 60 car in 2nd place, and the crew is telling him, hang in there, you're doing great. You're better in traffic than the 18, and the 18 is coming back to you. Carl says he's still a little bit tight in the center. If they have to come again, they'll make a track bar adjustment. Kevin Harvick in the 33 is running 3rd. Harvick loves these long runs. He says in his case the tires are better the longer they run. Ernie Cope a little bit concerned about it. Kevin maybe leaning on that right rear a little bit too much, but right now Kevin Harvick is quite pleased with his car. Shannon?
Matt Kenseth, the 3-time winner here at this track, so he knows what kind of car he needs to get to victory lane. Right now, the word from the 16 car is loose. That is what it's been all day long. He said if a yellow comes out, they will come down pit road to try to tighten it up a little bit. Dave?
And Keselowski runs right there in that bright green car, looking for a way around Kenseth, reporting that his car is a little loose up off right now. He wanted one of those long runs that you guys have been talking about, and Alan, looks like he's getting it here, trying to make progress forward.
All right, David, so that's the stories from some of the leaders' pits. In fact, the top 5's pits, and again, as if we see the caution flag, we expect to see them all on pit road. So Kyle Busch leading Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Brad Keselowski. 66 laps to go here in Thunder Valley. Which one of those drivers is going to drive up onto that roof and hold the big trophy at the end of these 300 laps?
Wheel in the sky keeps on turning.
ABC is your NBA destination tomorrow. Action continues as Dwayne Wade and the Heat roll into Motown to take on Rip Hamilton and the Detroit Pistons. The NBA on ABC Sunday. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern with GMC NBA Countdown. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. You can probably tell there is a new sheriff in town here at Bristol, a new leader, the 60 car of Carl Edwards, and appropriately coming off our NBA promo, there was a nice little pick set.
Yeah, a lot of
racetrack.
A lot of heavy traffic they got into there, and Carl Edwards took advantage. See right here, work around Joe Nemechek and Robert Richardson Jr. It's like Kyle Busch just kind of picks the wrong lane. That happens to me all the time on the interstate.
It is so hard to know here exactly who's been running good and who's going to take that spot and go. And this time it worked for Carl Edwards. But I can assure you Kyle Busch is not happy in being in second right now. This race is winding down. We only have 55 laps to go.
Now these cars pitted on lap 140, Andy, and you were doing a lot of feverish calculations a moment ago during the commercial. What do you think as far as fuel mileage is concerned?
I think they could probably make it on fuel. I'm just worried about these tires wearing out. We've seen them go to the cords, and we saw the 6 car just make a pit stop, and don't know if he had a tire problem, Vince.
He did indeed. His right front was going down, so David Reagan came in. They changed the right side tires, and what a kind of another heartbreaker for Reagan and this 6 crew. They were leading in Vegas a couple of weeks ago when he crashed, and they really seeking that first win for this team. 0 for 108 since this team was formed 3 years ago. They still haven't gotten to victory lane, and they are really hoping that they were hoping that today would be the day. Probably not for sure after that right front just went down.
Got some heavy contact, boys. We got some real racing for the lead. Wow. It's like Kyle Busch gets back up front, but he's got some damage to that right front fender.
A lot of damage on that right front end.
He got into the 18-year-old Trevor Bayne making his debut in the series, just trying to get out of the way, but there was contact, and now Kyle Busch has got Carl Edwards all over the rear of his Toyota.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the picture did justice of that move that Kyle Busch made right there, driving down in there, getting himself 3 wide and taking the lead. That's a tough thing to do on this racetrack, and there's not much room, and you're just hoping nobody slips when you go to commit to that. But that's Kyle Busch for you, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Not afraid to be aggressive, I can tell you that right now. He's got some damage, but I'm not sure this is going to hurt him too bad as long as it's not rubbing a tire. Aerodynamics are not as important on a short track. They still make a difference, but they're not as important on a short track.
Kyle Busch finished 39th, the last outing in Las Vegas, cost him the points lead. Contact in turn 4, the 88 car spins around, and it's Brad Keselowski.
And he gets hit in the left side, right at the end.
Come on, Brad, keep digging.
He was being shown in the 5th position.
I think a lot of these cars are really
Left front
thin on
damage,
tires.
Pop. Left front. Hey, we got to tape the door back on. The door's broke loose. Get the bond out.
Good thing is he didn't really lose any spots. He brought out a caution. He's going to get to come to pit road and work on the car and get tires too.
If he just hadn't gotten hit right there, it would actually worked out pretty good, but he's got a lot of damage.
They are going to,
behind the tire. Lucky it didn't catch any of the tire and mess up the suspension.
They will have to put some tape on that, though. Right along with him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been working on Matt Kenseth.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake there. Hold the brake. Hold the brake, hold the brake, come on, come on.
There was a little opening, and you got to know that guy's coming back down the racetrack there. So.
And here comes the 18 car. And the 33 and the 60 on pit road, Mike.
And the 18 making their stop. They go to work on the fender damage, pull that away from the tire. Expect a 4-tire change on the 18 car, no chassis adjustments. Vince.
They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on the 33 as you see going around and changing all 4. Kevin Harvick had said, I hope we don't pit because we'll win this race. My car tires are good on the long run, but it's not the case. The 60 car, they made a track bar adjustment and some wedge, and looking for a little more through the center for Carl Edwards. Shannon.
Matt Kenseth says leave the car alone, no changes, 4 stickers for that 16 car. Dave.
And Clint Boyer's car wouldn't turn the way he wanted it to. He'll get a wedge adjustment and 4 tires. Doc watched the race off of pit road. This is the money stop, last one of the day.
Here they go. They've lost a couple of spots on every stop. And there is the race off. Kyle Busch, Harvick, Edwards, and but there was a problem in the 18 pits.
Yeah, if we show a replay, Kyle Busch, there was a tire still on the right side of the car. You can see the official over here on the right side of their car. The right rear tire was set there. It didn't roll on over.
It actually hits the wall, bounces back. The official does.
He's trying to tell him. He actually helped stop it because he doesn't want it to go out. But he leaves his pit road, and you can't do that, Andy.
Oh, this is going to be real costly for Kyle Busch because this is going to put him on last car on the lead lap.
That tire must be attended to the inside of the pit box. It was, but it bounced off the wall and came back out, and a bad break and a bad bounce for our leader, Kyle Busch. Just 43 laps remain in the Scott's Turf Builder 300 at Bristol Motor Speedway here in Bristol, Tennessee. Working caution for the 9th time, and Kevin Harvick in the 33 car is the leader. What a great job his guys did getting him on and off pit road. And his Chevrolet still trying to get his very first win in a car that he owns, Kevin Harvick Incorporated. And if you're looking for the 18 car, Kyle Busch, who was the leader, you saw the tire violation. And that is a pass-through penalty, and Andy, he had to come back on the pit road.
It's going to put him on the tail end of the lead lap right here, lead lap cars. It'll be fun to watch, see what he can do here.
Yeah, he's back in 16th spot now.
42 laps is what he's got to get the job done.
I have to say he's not going to get back to the front, but it should be interesting to watch how far he does go. But we got a great race up front between Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth there once again.
Here we go. And Harvick is very, very hungry. Folks, he has never won in his own race car. 42 times, counting today, that he has driven his own car, and he has finished second 3 times. I got to believe it's going to be hard to pass. And look at the 18 car knifing through the field.
Okay, there's one of them. Okay, let's say it's 3 of them. He's been getting 3. Oh, got a little jam up off turn 2.
Keselowski was out of shape there. Kind of jammed things up. Everybody did a good job of avoiding that.
See, Kyle Busch is clicking him off.
Whoa, trouble off turn 2.
Caution's out, 1 and 2. Check up.
Big pile up.
Brendan Gaughan involved. Scott Lagasse, the 11 car. 6 of David Reagan, the 09.
Got Morgan Shepherd over in the middle of the corner torn up. Yeah, he's like Townley's got a lot of damage to his car also. Boy, Morgan's got, his day went from bad to way worse. He's got the whole front end knocked off this time.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski's talking about him needing a rear clip. He's going to need a front one now too, it looks like. Plus radiator. And
Townley able to drive away, but he has a lot of damage.
Yeah, the rookie driver.
It's more typical of what we're used to seeing. We've seen a lot of 1, maybe 2 car spins here today. It doesn't happen a lot, but it's more typical of Bristol racing. When something happens, everybody just piles in. See what happened here. Brad Keselowski, he struggled. He got loose, got up into.
Just got loose,
Brendan
and when that happens, he got to chase it up the racetrack. And Brendan Gaughan was just a victim. Now all these guys also.
Still there. Stay low. Come on. Hold the brake there. Hold the brake, Brad. Hold the brake. Got more cars coming. Hold the brake. Don't roll. All right. No. Come on through here. Go high.
Kyle Busch back in the pack, trying to knife his way through, and somehow he gets through that mess, and now the 18 car all the way back up to 11th position.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder. All food, no filler. That's Scott's advantage.
Under caution here in Bristol, Tennessee, Kevin Harvick is the leader. Carl Edwards, Kenseth Boyer, and Allgaier, the impressive rookie, is 5th. Now, what about the saga of Kyle Busch, who had to go to the back of the pack a moment ago because of a tire violation? Let's listen in.
Hello, red flag. Can we get a red flag, please?
He's looking for a red flag because he doesn't like these laps clicking off under caution, that he needs to pick off these spots. He's 11th spot with a fast car. I don't know if he's got enough time, Dale. What do you think?
Well, I don't know that those would help him get to the lead because those guys are going to get able to get away, but it would help him pick up a lot of spots probably if he had more laps, obviously. So, yeah, like his thinking.
Carl Edwards is our in-race reporter, and he is currently running in the second position. Let's talk to Carl.
Carl, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You happy?
I got you, Dale.
Well, the laps are winding down. You got anything for Mr. Harvick there in front of you?
I guarantee we do. We got a good race car here, so hopefully we get to race a little bit. We've been faster than him on the, on a little bit longer run, and I feel pretty good in traffic. So, hopefully we can beat him. It's been a good race for us so far. Just been trying to get it perfect,
Yeah, I don't know if you know, Kyle Busch had a little bit of a violation there in the pits. That was an awful fast car. Probably not enough time for him to get there and race with you guys.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at right now, but the end of the day here is a good day for us. It'll be a jump in points, over him. So hopefully we can maintain this, or maybe run one spot better. But either way, if we can finish in front of Kyle, that's a good day for us too.
Hey, Carl, has the outside of the upper groove come in as much as you anticipated and were hoping that it would?
No, it really hasn't. I thought there'd be more of an outside groove. Maybe tomorrow on some longer runs with the sun out, we'll get that outside groove going. But right now, it's still kind of a fight for the bottom.
All right, thanks, Carl. Good luck.
Man, thanks.
Well, can Carl Edwards get it done? Can Kevin Harvick hit a home run? This weekend, ESPN pitches both World Baseball Classic semifinal games. First tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, Korea takes on Venezuela. And then tomorrow at 8 Eastern, USA faces Japan. The World Baseball Classic semifinals on ESPN tonight and tomorrow. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. On the last restart, after having to start at the end of the longest line, Kyle Busch was a man possessed and got a lot of spots as soon as the green flag waved.
Well, he has a really good race car. That first and foremost helps. You can see him get a good jump and go to the outside, which is what you can do before you get to the start-finish line. He continues on that pace, going to the outside here.
Looks like he surprised a few of these guys. Made quite a few spots in a short amount of time.
31 laps. He is now back in the 11th position, but now he's got, it's not going to be as easy to get by some of these guys in front of him, like Scott Speed, Stephen Wallace, Leffler. And how about Allgaier, the rookie, up in 5th position?
Yeah, he's done a terrific job. Andy picked him today as a sleeper, and he's done really, really well all day long. Very impressive.
He's had a couple of close calls I've seen, but he's got a little damage on the right front. But otherwise, the car is really pretty clean, and that's hard to do as a rookie here.
Yeah, and another one, Scott Speed, who's up in the 8th spot. He's done a terrific job all day, never being here before.
Well, Kevin Harvick trying to do something he has never done in his own equipment. Right now, he is the leader with just 30 to go. Let's talk down in their pits with the 33 crew chief, Ernie Cohen.
Ernie, I know that Kevin was real happy with the car on the long run. Now you've got just 31 left. Do you have enough to hold off Carl on this dash here?
I think so. We tightened it up a little bit for this last run. He said it's a little bit tighter than it had been, so I think our Chevrolet Impala is going to be good here for the end.
No problem on the alternator?
No, it's holding 12 volts. I think we're going to be fine.
Shannon?
It's running third right now is Matt Kenseth in the 16, Eddie Pardue. I know you guys were battling some loose conditions earlier in the race. Have you guys got it tightened up enough to get that 60 and a 33 car?
Well, the City Financial Ford Fusion started off not where we wanted, but this is the best it's been, and Matt Kenseth's fun to watch out there, so it should be good.
Best it's been, and Matt Kenseth, two good things on their side right now.
Kenseth, a proven winner, was not even supposed to be in the race, subbing for the 16 normally driven by Greg Biffle, who has some bruised ribs from an accident on his boat dock. Biffle will be in the NASCAR Sprint Cup race here on Sunday, though, by the way.
Yeah, and he needs to not use up all his luck days. He's on my fantasy team for tomorrow. So he needs to do well both days. But he's done a great job in that car today. Just typical Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, he is. He just chips away at it, and before you know it, he's right there.
Just race number 4 of 35 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and we head to Texas Motor Speedway. And watch the NASCAR stars shine out in Texas and Nashville on the concrete Phoenix. How about Talladega? 25 car drafts. Folks, that's your ticket to the race for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. We'll be there for each and every one of them right down to the championship week at Homestead, Miami in November.
This is going to get fun, guys.
Yes, it is.
Kevin Harvick's wanting to do it as much for he's wanting to do it for his sponsor and for everything else. He's wanting to do it so we'll quit bringing up about are you ever going to win a race in your own car?
I bet that's the first thing he says in victory lane.
Yeah, he hides from us now. And he said, by the way, if I pull it off, his crew said yesterday, Ernie Cope, if we pull it off, this party will go into the night. I promise it's going to happen.
He's got his work cut out, though.
Okay, we're going to show you the front. We're also going to show you Kyle Busch back in 11th spot and see if this guy all fired up can get there. Here we go.
Yeah, nice start that he got. Got 4 or 5 car lengths on Carl Edwards. See Kyle Busch there on the left trying to go around teammate Joey Logano.
I got a lap car in the way. Scott Wimmer.
And he will get Wimmer nuts. Can't get there. Now we'll slide up in front of Legacy. There's Harvick. Now just pulling away from Carl Edwards.
Yeah, and here comes in third spot, Clint Boyer just taking over that spot. So Carl Edwards has to look in his mirror.
Well, they really did make an adjustment on that 33 car for the short run. We just heard Ernie Cope talking about it, and it really is working right here. He's able to stretch it out on Carl.
Pretty good move back in the pack. The 66 behind this bunch. Good run for position between Leffler and Stephen Wallace. That's for 6th spot.
And Steve Wallace takes that spot over. We said earlier he's done a really good job coming from the back of the pack all day long.
There is Stephen Wallace, who's now gone by, and he's got a very fast race car here in the final 20 laps.
There you see Kyle Busch working the outside of Paul Menard. He gets that spot. Now he's looking at Jason Leffler.
That would be 8th for if he can get by Leffler. And right in front of him is the 99 of Scott Speed in 7th.
There's 22 laps to go. These laps click off quick here. Not a lot of time to get this thing done.
But he's doing as much damage control as far as the points go as he possibly can with the miscue on pit road by his team. It wasn't anything that Kyle did.
And going around the high side of the 99 car, trying to. Now Trevor Bayne, the lap car up top.
Scott Speed really has done a good job in this car today.
Yeah, for his first time here, he's kept that car really clean and done a really good job just making passes and racing all day and get some experience, which will help him tremendously tomorrow.
Well, the good news is Kyle Busch has now moved into 7th spot. The bad news is less than 20 to go, and he's a straightaway behind the leader.
Yeah, without a caution or two here, he's not going to have a shot at these front runners. Harvick's gone, though. I can't believe how they've adjusted that car. I mean, he just took off on this restart. There's a 1.3 second lead right now.
And that's a lot at this racetrack.
A lot, yep, especially with 17 laps to go.
Well, Kevin Harvick has done everything you can do here at this racetrack. He's led the most laps. He's got 4 wins, the most of any driver on concrete in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
And Carl Edwards is still in 2nd, but he's got Clint Boyer breathing down his neck, and he's really not making any moves to look like he's going to be catching Kevin Harvick in these next 16, 15 laps.
If anything, he might lose another spot to Clint. Clint's right there.
Just didn't look like his car hooked up at the beginning of that run. That allowed Kevin Harvick to jump out and get a nice, comfortable lead. But Harvick's going to come up on some traffic here in about the next 2 laps. And
well, the good thing he's got is a 1.7 second cushion over these guys, so he doesn't have to push it when he gets to these lap cars. He can take his time a little bit and pick a good conservative way around them.
Yeah, you can, but you'd be surprised at how quickly that car gets to you from behind whenever you get slowed down just a half second or more as you get into these cars. The next thing you look up in your mirror and that guy's on your bumper. So far, Kevin's doing a really good job in catching these cars at the right spot. And that's really helpful. When you have to get there and either slow down behind somebody in the corner or either you get to racing side by side, but these guys aren't doing that. As we see Kyle Busch take another spot away as he gets that 6th spot away from Steve Wallace.
Kyle Busch is going to drive this thing back and maybe get a top 5 finish. It'll be 10 laps to go next time by for Kevin Harvick. Here is Harvick down on the inside of Eric McClure, the local driver from Abingdon, Virginia.
He's getting a lot of help from these lap cars. They're giving him room, giving him the bottom of the racetrack, where he wants to be.
Yeah, they really haven't impeded his progress much at all. I mean, they've slowed him down just a couple of tenths maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah, the gap has shrunk now to less than a second over Carl Edwards. You see him right there. But I think if Kevin can get clear of this car right here, John West Townley, he's got a lot of room in front of this car, and he's only got one more ahead of him, and then pretty clear sailing.
Yeah, that's the key now is he only has one car between that he will probably encounter before the end of the race, actually.
These are going to be the longest 9 laps or 8 laps now for Kevin Harvick.
It was a handful of years ago that Kevin and his wife, Delana Harvick, decided to start their own race team, a NASCAR nationwide team. They have 2 wins at Daytona with Tony Stewart driving. They got a win 2 years ago at Talladega with Bobby Labonte driving. But Kevin said, I have not been able to win in my race car. That is maybe until today.
Well, he's in the driver's seat right now. He's got the fastest car on the racetrack last lap. Clear racetrack in front of him.
And one thing he doesn't want to see right now is a caution flag. That would put Carl Edwards back on his bumper. Other than that, that's about the only thing that's going to keep him from winning this race.
There's Edwards, who has now moved in just a bit as he gets underneath Mark Davis.
Is at the line now.
Carl's giving it everything he's got. He beat Kevin Harvick the last lap by just a little bit.
Carl has pulled away from Clint Boyer, who's in that 3rd spot.
Kyle Busch, by the way, back in 6th position. He has not been able to run down the 12 of the rookie Allgaier yet. Kevin Harvick 4 laps away.
Michael Annett way high as you see Kevin Harvick go by him on the inside.
Like Michael Annett got into the wall. No caution, but he's got some damage going to have to get to pit road. Kevin Harvick does not want to see a caution right here.
Yeah, Annett will make it on the pit road, and we will stay green. There's the battle for 4th spot.
Justin Allgaier still working on Matt Kenseth. What a good job Allgaier's done today.
And here comes Kyle Busch behind him to try to take away the 5th position.
Now, Allgaier had been working that high side trying to pass Matt Kenseth. He decided there to try it a little bit lower, and the car got really loose. You see Kyle Busch try to go to the bottom and take that 5th spot away.
White flag for Kevin Harvick. 33 years of age in car number 33, looking for career win number 33. But it would be his first time to go to victory lane in his own race car. And here he comes. Kevin Harvick does it at Bristol.
Finally gets it done.
Awesome job. Great job, Kev.
That was a great job by Kevin Harvick.
How about that? Awesome job in the pit.
That's what I was waiting to hear.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Good job, Kevin.
Yeah, they've taken their lumps over the races here, and they did a great job of getting him out in front of Carl Edwards, and that was really, I think, the key to him winning, especially when Kyle Busch got his penalty.
And Kevin's going to do some celebrating here as we go down and visit with Ernie Cope. Mike?
And there's plenty of celebrating going down here on pit road as well. Ernie Cope, the winning crew chief. What does this mean for this organization?
Oh, that was big. I mean, we've been running good since we went to Daytona this year. We straightened out our pit stops. We had good pit stops today. Richard Childress, ECR engines, give us great engines. Things are just rolling. Hopefully they keep going this way.
I know this will be an emotional win for Kevin. How do you think he'll react?
I'm pretty sure he's going to be pretty pleased.
Indeed. Somebody told me last year when he gets his first win, there's going to be a wrestling match for that race car. The team's going to want it, but Kevin's going to want to retire it and put it in his museum.
Kevin Harvick has waited 2.5 years driving his own race car intermittently. He drove it full time in 2008, finished second twice, finished second in California, thought he had the car to beat at Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, had it taken away from him in a late accident, but he would not be denied on this evening at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, congratulations, Ernie Cope. What a good guy. It's put a lot of just
sweat and tears into this business. He's put his life into it, and glad that he's the guy that was able to bring Kevin that victory.
And this is a good matchup. Those two really have gelled well, and I see a lot more of these coming for these guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Ernie was promoted from within the organization. He was the crew chief for the NASCAR Truck Series effort there, and so pleased that Kevin said, I want you to call my shots and we're going to win this thing together.
Great pit stops today, too. This was a great team effort by the whole Kevin Harvick Incorporated.
Kyle Busch is not a happy camper after driving so hard and being the car to beat, having to come from the back of the pack. He'll be credited with a 6th place finish. So what a difference in emotion. Kyle Busch, frustrated, angry, climbing out of the car. Probably had the car to beat, had the incident on pit road, and then the elation, the jubilation of Kevin Harvick in victory lane. Let's go down to what should be a special victory lane. Vince.
Kevin Harvick climbing from his car, and how sweet it is to be in victory lane here today for Kevin Harvick and this crew. Kevin, you've had other drivers take your car to victory lane. How good does it feel to drive it in there yourself?
I tell you, it feels really good to get our own car back in victory lane. I just want to thank everybody from Armour, Ream, Jimmy John's, Chevrolet. Really want to thank the fans. This has been an awesome weekend here at Bristol with all the participation from the drivers and the fans, and this is a lot of fun. So finally, we got this out of the way. This car has been really fast, and alternator went out today. It was kind of hot in there, but just got to thank Ernie Cope and Rick Corelli, pit crew, and everybody just did a great job.
How important was that final adjustment as the wife Delana comes in? How important was that final adjustment on that last pit stop to snug it up a little bit?
Well, I think the most important thing was leaving the fuel out of the car. I think that really let us get going on the restarts, and that's the only place we struggled all day was getting going on the restarts. So to get going on the restarts and have clean air paid off for us big.
Kevin Harvick wins in his own equipment for the very first time here today at Bristol. Shannon Spake?
Well, Vince, Carl Edwards got out of the car, asked where Kyle Busch finished. Not a win, but definitely a good points day for you guys.
No, a great points day. But yeah, not a win. Kevin, all those guys did a really good job. They were fast all day. I just can't thank Scott's enough for coming here and sponsoring this race. We almost got him a pole, we almost got him a win, but regardless, it's a great points day for us. And you know, if you guys ever need anybody with some need for some grass seed, the Scott's is the best stuff out there, and really cool to represent them here this weekend. And we just got a gift with Kyle getting that penalty. That's a great points day for us.
Yeah, Carl Edwards still your points leader here in the Nationwide Series. Dave?
Clint Boyer with a strong 3rd place finish, but what was wrong with your car that you couldn't get by those guys to the front today, Clint?
I mean, just I want to thank the guys for bringing me a solid Holiday Inn Chevrolet. You know, the car was solid. It's just a little bit too tight all day long to run up front. We kept had a little bit of trouble, discrepancy with our pit road speed, and kept losing spots at pit road. But you know, I don't think we had anything for those leaders. We just we tried. We just didn't come up a little short.
All right, long day for these guys, Vince.
With Delana Harvick, and Delana, you came in, you gave your husband that big hug and the tears. How emotional is it for you to get this win today?
It is very emotional. He's tried so hard, so long in his own stuff, and you know, these guys don't give up. We could have given up a long time ago, and he didn't. And I was up in the suite, and I was just praying that I don't get up. When I'm sitting in the chair, I don't get up, I didn't move. So I didn't come down here till the end, and I'm just so thankful. I mean, everything happens for a reason, and today was his day.
So much hard work has gone into this effort. Good to see it finally pay off today, Doc.
Well, folks, if you love what you saw here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, you're going to enjoy it in 2 weeks as we head to the Great American Speedway for the NASCAR Nationwide Series action. Texas, that's Saturday, April 4th, 2 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2. And the full NASCAR Nationwide contingent will be going after it there on the 1.5-mile oval in Fort Worth, Texas. Guys, what a performance by Kevin Harvick, and what an adjustment on that final pit stop.
Yeah, that's what got me, is just that how they adjusted that car for that last run. They got a good break. They got a good break with Kyle Busch having his problem, but they really earned this one today.
Yeah, he sure did, and I'm sure that a lot of people are saying, well, what's the big deal? He won in his own car. car. Trust me, folks, he's won a lot of races, but this one means as much to him as anything. Maybe not the Daytona 500, but it means a lot because they worked hard to build this here in Delana, and it's a great day for Kevin Harvick. Great job all the way around by his entire crew.
They dreamed about this day years ago. Yes, others have gotten in the car and been able to get wins, but when you're paying the bills and signing the checks, you know this operation is now on its way as Kevin Harvick gets his first win in the family car at Bristol, Tennessee. We talked about Harvick winning, Edwards second, Boyer third, Kenseth fourth, and what a run. Career best finish for the rookie, Justin Allgaier. Shannon.
Yeah, get used to hearing his name because we're going to be talking about him a lot this season. The first time he's been in this track, you were racing with some big dogs, held off the 18 of Kyle Busch. What was that like for you?
Oh, that was pretty cool. You know, Kyle, you know, was the dominant force kind of for the whole race up there. And so to be able to hold him off at the last lap was really cool. But Chad Walsh and all the guys on the Verizon Wireless Dodge did a great job all day. Got us where we needed to be, got us track position, and the pit stops were great. So it made my job really easy.
First time at this track, is this your new favorite track?
Oh, of course, it's my new favorite track. This place is the funnest racetrack I've ever been to, and I'm looking forward to coming back at 9. I think it's going to be even better, and it means a lot to be able to stand here and tell you we got our first top 5.
All right, Justin Allgaier, great finish for the rookie here today. Dave?
Shannon, the veteran Matt Kenseth drove to a 4th place finish today. Matt, what was that like in somebody else's car?
Well, I mean, everybody's making kind of a big deal out of it. You know, really, I was planning on running this car 12 times. So me and Greg and Ricky Steinhaus are splitting the schedule. So I wasn't planning on running here, but I have been planning on running Texas in a couple weeks. It was going to be my first race with Eddie and these guys. So I've been spending some time with them, and it really was a big deal. They did a really good job. They did a great job on pit road. We just never really had the car right all weekend. I just couldn't get it to drive how I wanted to, and it was a handful most of the day. I'm really surprised we came home 4th, actually.
Can you talk about dueling with Boyer and Allgaier there at the end?
Yeah, that was fun. Justin and I got together, you know, coming to the finish line, but I saw he had a run on the top, and there was a car pretty much parked at the start-finish line. So when I seen he wasn't going to beat me in the line, I kind of eased over so I didn't run into the other guy, and he was still in the gas. So we got together a little bit there afterwards. But it was fun racing them guys. Everybody seemed to race pretty clean today, and gave each other a lot of room and raced really hard. So it was fun.
All right, thank you, Matt. That's the story from down on pit road. Alan?
All right, David, thank you. Don't forget, tomorrow, ABC is your NBA destination. Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat roll into Motown to take on Rip Hamilton and the Detroit Pistons. NBA on ABC Sunday starting at 12:30 Eastern with GMC NBA Countdown. And for more, log on to ESPN.com. I'm sitting here watching the emotions at the end of this race. Many of us got our first television exposure to big league NASCAR racing on ABC's Wide World of Sports years ago. Remember the line, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat? Kevin Harvick celebrating a very emotional first win, and we saw Kyle Busch walk out of the racetrack very frustrated. He led 156 of the first 254 laps. He was leading the race when it went wrong.
Oh, man, it's all about a team, though, Alan. I mean, they had a pit code problem. I mean, the tire ran away. Yeah. They had a problem right there. Kyle needed to keep his composure, and he did. He drove it back up to 6. That was a good run for him. But take a look at Kevin Harvick. Yeah. I mean, I'm a car owner. I know that. When you get your first win as an owner, that is really big. We're proud for him.
Absolutely. And then we move forward to Texas, which is a great racetrack. We're going to get to see Carl Edwards. That's one of his favorite places. Maybe make an even bigger indentation into these points. We'll know Kyle Busch will bounce back. He'll be good there. And what about a great run for Bernie Lamar today? A top 15 finish.
So on this afternoon at Bristol, we saw a lot of the expected. We saw a lot of framming and bamming, a lot of accidents, 10 cautions for 62 laps. We also saw a lot of different lead changes, 17. New record for Nationwide Series race here. In the end, Carl Edwards gaining a little ground in the championship. Kevin Harvick moving up 5 spots in the points to second spot, and there is Kyle Busch, now 124 down to Carl Edwards after 4 of the 35 races. Now, if you want some more racing, coming up on ESPN2 at 6 Eastern Time, the Scott's Saturday Night Special here at Bristol. Rusty Wallace, Harry Gant, Cale Yarborough, many others in the field. That's at 6 Eastern on ESPN2. So congratulations again to our race winner, Kevin Harvick. He comes out on top in a big emotional first win driving for his own team. Thank you for watching ESPN on ABC. So long.